What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report Special Edition today, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to be getting into some Marvel Phase 4 and beyond discussion, ladies and gentlemen. We wind up having ourselves a huge day this past week when Disney had their Investor Day, not only for Pixar and Lucasfilm, but also for Marvel, ladies and gentlemen. And so we were thinking about doing maybe several different videos, but you know what? We just decided to just band together like the brother of nerds that we are and actually just discuss all this fantastic Marvel news in regards to some brand new TV announcements, some film announcements, along with some trailers that they wind up showing us today. So everything that you have seen that has in fact been released, let me go ahead and pull up a quick photo. All these titles today, ladies and gentlemen, will in fact be discussed at some particular point in time today. We're going to be getting into the nitty gritty of all the new details that have come out, some more than others for certain, some of these series, according to Kevin Feige. But we're going to have a little bit of fun here today discussing all of this. And it's not just me, because heaven knows if it was just me, we would probably be here 8 hours going over all this stuff. But I do have myself a co-host of Nerds of the Roundtable today. Welcome in Indy and Stewart. What's going on, brothers?
Hey.
Uh-oh, I think you're on mute, man. You mute yourself, Indy.
Yeah, look at me behind the times. What's going on, guys?
Good to see you, man. Love the setup over there you got. Loving that. Have you always had that chair, man, or did you upgrade the chair too?
I always had this chair. It was just in storage. I just went back and got it.
Haven't seen it in a minute. That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy about this one.
How much was it?
The chair? Like
yeah,
$349 Peasley dollars, something like that.
You said 349?
Yeah.
Damn, that shit better have a vibrator. It better have a heater. It better jerk you off too for $350, man. That's a crazy chair.
I mean, I said I wasn't able to get a PlayStation 5, so I might as well just spoil myself in another way, right?
I like it, man. Comfort. That's the way to go, man. That's the way to go. But let's see who's in the live chat with us. That's going to be joining us for some of this discussions. We've got Dino Knights Fight for Your Rights, aka Bacon and Sushi's in here, and of course Shadow Nova Production certainly coming through. And of course, guys, certainly let everybody feel welcome as they come in. If we have any stragglers last minute that wants to jump in on some of the discussion, keep them up to date. If they ask, what have they talked about so far? Go ahead and certainly let them know. Shadow Nova, though, says he is sad that we didn't get any Spider-Man 3 news, not even a title reveal. They're keeping that shit tight, man. They don't want any of that to come out. We got the Alfred Molina stuff already out, the Jamie Foxx stuff out. Sony's like, please, just no more announcements. You're ruining the whole entire movie for us, please.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I thought because it said right underneath Spider-Man 3, like spelled out, I thought 3 was the subtitle.
God, I hope that's not the case. Please change that, Marvel.
No. That is the reason. The reason why it's 3 and 3 is a subtitle is because there will be 3 Spider-Man in the movie. That's why it says Spider-Man 3.
Ooh, I like the way you're thinking, Indy. I like the way you're thinking, man. But we wind up having a ton of announcements today, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to be getting into today. Again, we did a video, or at least I did a video a few years back with one of my best friends, Jonathan Sanjuro, when they went ahead and announced, I think it was Phase 2 of Marvel and all the movies that they were going to be dropping. And we kind of did a similar video of this, just kind of breaking down all the titles that were in fact revealed. You know, when we started off the Disney Investor Day meeting, one of the things that they talked about right off the bat, Bob Iger said, was that they have plans to do at least 10 Marvel series and 10 Star Wars series over the next several days. And when I say they were not kidding at all. It's almost as though they wanted to announce all 10 of them right then and there. It certainly felt like. But the topics and the ones that I want to specifically focus on first, fellas, is all these series that wind up giving us a brand new trailer, or at least our first look today. So, fellas, let me ask you guys, which series would you like to start off with first?
I'm going to leave that to you guys.
Pick one. You know what? Fine. We're going to go with Loki. Let's go with Loki. I'll make the decisions. The executive
All
order
right.
here. We're going to go and focus a little bit on Loki this today, which honestly, I don't want to say I was surprised that we wind up getting ourselves a trailer. I know that the series has been filming, but they've been pretty hush-hush as far as leaks in regards to a ton of set photos. I mean, we have seen some set photos, but I feel like there really hasn't been a lot of talk about this particular series, honestly, until this trailer wind up dropping. This was really our first look at the trailer of Loki, and I got to tell you guys, this is probably outside of maybe the What If series. This trailer that we wind up getting from Loki was really impressive to me in regards to getting me hyped for it. The idea of time travel, visiting the TVA, really fascinates me. I love that it starts out with us remembering that we are dealing with a different Loki from another time period or another dimension, if you will, a different timeline. So following along with that version of Loki sounds like it's going to be a pretty fun time. And it seems like it's a pretty vast series. I feel like just based off of the trailer alone, we wind up getting ourselves a ton of different set locations, set pieces. So it definitely feels as though Loki's going to be doing a ton of traveling, and I'm fascinated, if anything, as to who he's certainly going to bump into. And the reason why I ask that, fellas, is because there is a scene in this trailer here that looks very much like Black Widow chilling, like waiting for him either on this on the planet where they wind up finding the Soul Stone from, if I'm not mistaken. It looked like that particular planet. So nobody's come out and confirmed the fact that that is in fact sort of Black Widow. Maybe she winds up, maybe that's her soul that's still there. Maybe she's taking the place of where the Red Skull used to represent. Who certainly knows? But did you guys catch that scene? Do you think that's Black Widow? And what else out of this trailer really jumped out at you, honestly?
I didn't catch that scene that you were talking about, but if they were going to bring Black Widow back in any way, shape, or form, that would be the perfect way to do it, to my opinion. But no, I personally did not catch that scene, though, that you're talking about. I think what fascinates me, though, the most about this show is I have a vague idea of what to expect. You know, it's going to be time travel, and it's going to be like Loki not really wanting to work for these guys, but essentially he's kind of being forced to do so. So I kind of like that aspect of it, because, you know, for a fact, knowing Loki, he's going to find every way he can to screw them over, and it's going to either work in his favor or it's going to completely bite him in the ass later on. So I look forward to that part of it. And just the fact that there's so much going on in this show, it just seems crazy. It almost felt like, especially when looking at some of the amazing special effects that we do get to see, it almost feels like this was meant to be a movie, but like they had too many crazy ideas they couldn't fit it in one film, and so they knew that a miniseries was the way they had to go with it.
Yeah, the production value definitely seems up there. I mean, they've been boasting about the idea that these Disney Plus shows are going to have movie quality to them and treat them like movies. The only difference is going to be length, honestly. So you're absolutely right. The vastness of the series looks pretty incredible. And just to showcase to you guys the scene I am talking about, this is a brief clip. Now, clearly in the trailer, it's a much wider shot, but this is one of the shots that you see somebody sitting on the rock with the short red hair. To me, it kind of looks like a Black Widow, but maybe not. And granted, again, the trailer does show a more vast shot, but that's the first person that came to mind when I thought of it.
This is why I shouldn't watch trailers on my phone, because I totally missed that.
And I also love the fact, too, that they are hearkening back to the comic book side of things here. We actually get ourselves a new look of Loki, sporting the jacket. He got the Vote for Loki sort of button on there. Also, very hearkening back to the comic book series. Wouldn't you agree, Indy? What are your thoughts, man?
Definitely. One thing that I noticed about this that I really liked is the fact that they're pinpointing when Loki left, like when this Loki started. So the Loki that we're used to, that went through all the character development, which witnessed his father die, went through all the struggle he did with Thanos, you know what I'm saying, sending the Hulk, to Earth to save his, save his life. Like that Loki doesn't exist.
That's a good point.
So this Loki that we're going to have is actually the conniving, scheming Loki, the one that was getting ready to take over, in his father's place, that necessarily wasn't too happy with his brother. you know what I'm saying, at the time. So it's going to be pretty interesting on how they do that. If there's a cameo of any that I want in this series, I want Lady Sif.
Okay.
I want Lady Sif in this series. Maybe
I'm actually hearing rumors that she could be in here. They even made an announcement that she's supposed to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, and there are rumblings she may pop in here, so you might get your wish, Indy.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see what she was doing. You know what I'm saying? She's supposed to be off world the entire time, and just maybe interacting with those characters that we haven't seen in a long time, or those characters that we know are dead because they died, and just bringing them back. You know what I'm saying, for a one-off. I really think that Loki and WandaVision more than anything, because I really don't think Secret Invasion is going to be what we think it actually is. But these two shows more than anything are going to set us up for the future of the MCU.
For the Loki one, you definitely think that, huh?
Yeah.
For me, I kind of think it might be the opposite. I feel like this is going to be kind of their way of being able to tell an entire what if storyline without having to worry about the continuity of the MCU, but still being able to use like the production and the actors from the MCU. But it could, I could be wrong. Like it could be used to trim the branches that have been made at the end of Endgame. And therefore, like by the end, it might end up merging back into the MCU timeline. So I can definitely see Indy also being right about that. But if it does that, then the one thing I'm really hoping for with this series, because we've seen that it can happen in the Thor trilogy, I really do hope for a Loki redemption story. If that ends up being what happens at the end, if they merge it back into the MCU, I'd really like to see Loki try to redeem himself.
That definitely would be a great storyline for them to try and focus on. Also, I will say this just to bring up a couple of other things that jumped out at me in the trailer. The shot of the three heads, the three statues. A part of me in the back of my head, I'm trying to wonder if any of those are in fact Kang the Conqueror. You know, we already have a confirmation of Kang the Conqueror definitely being in Ant-Man 3, considering the fact that he's such a big part of time traveling, and you know Loki has been captured by the TVA. I'm wondering if there is going to be any reference of Kang. It almost makes me think that the head right behind this woman is in fact Kang. I don't know if that's like the three foundations of time or whatever the case may be, who those people represent. Well, what are your vibes that you guys are getting from this? Do you think any of these are Kang, or do you think they're just completely different characters?
I think all of them are Kang.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
I think all of them are Kang, because that's one of the big things that go with, as far as the Kang storyline goes, is that there's too many Kang to even have to deal with. You know, so I'm thinking like each one could be a Kang from a different timeline, and that's who's policing all these different timelines. So it's gonna be pretty interesting too if it's Loki running from Kang. Period. Like every timeline he just runs in or has to run from a different Kang.
That would be pretty interesting to have Kang chasing after him. I also really love the appearance of Owen Wilson popping up in here. I think he's going to bring great humor. I almost want to call him Luke Wilson every time, but I'm like, wait, we just watched him on Stargirl, so I think that's probably where I keep getting the names mixed up. But I do love seeing Owen Wilson in here. I honestly forgot that he was supposed to be even in this series until I saw him in the trailer, and I was like, oh, thank goodness, I forgot all about it. But I'm so glad that he's here. They've put together an honestly a great cast, and just from everything that I've seen, just from the Loki trailer alone, you know, for somebody like myself that honestly was not that highly anticipating this series, this trailer does have me excited for what they're going to do. I had no idea that this was going to be the magnitude of what they were putting together for this series, but it looks fun, it looks vast, and it definitely looks like Loki's going to find himself on an adventure. And if there's anybody I want to follow during that, it's definitely Tom Hiddleston, because I know he's going to kill this role as Loki in here. I got to think this is like a fresh take on the character for him too, right? Considering the fact that this is, like you mentioned, Indy, that this is technically going to be a different Loki to a certain extent, that hasn't experienced all the stuff that we have seen Loki go through. So at least ever since the first Avengers movie. So who knows? I'm sure Tom Hiddleston is probably going to have a lot of fun having a fresh new take on Loki, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's his last time where he gets to really embrace the evilness of Loki, because I feel like one way or another, if they do bring Loki back into the MCU timeline, they probably will like go with the Loki that was kind of redeemed at the end. So I feel like this is kind of his one last hurrah as evil Loki, like post-redemption, or sorry, pre-redemption.
See, I think it's the total opposite. I think you're going to end up with him being the evil Loki, because I think they went two ways. I think they're doing this show because maybe they weren't satisfied with how Loki ended up. And maybe they had a different route from was going, because remember, they changed directors and everything when it came to going from Thor 3, Ragnarok, you know what I'm saying, from the other two. Maybe Loki was supposed to go in a totally different direction, but that didn't work for that third movie, so they went somewhere else with it. But now that they're back on track with what they want to do, they want that Loki. Maybe Loki plays a bigger picture than what we actually think of in the future of the MCU. And key point is, who would be happier than anybody to know that Loki is still around? Is when you get Thor to see his brother, only to find out it's not his brother. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot you could play with that, especially when it comes to storyline in the future.
I mean, I do like that idea. I certainly would like to possibly have that happen. I mean, for me, considering the fact of how popular Tom Hiddleston is and how popular he is as that Loki character, it wouldn't surprise me if they still wanted to utilize Loki in a bigger role going forward for the next upcoming phase, especially if you're going to give him a new, fresh take like this. So that would be some great stuff to look at. And now, one last thing I do want to go ahead and pull up, because I don't know if many people even picked up on this, but because of the fact that I'm a huge nerd and I literally just watched a documentary series on this. Oh, this is Dino Knight says Owen Wilson with the goofy mustache. I'm dead. Yeah, he's like, well, you know what, Loki? I know you lied right there because you love to talk. You love to gab. You know. Absolutely. But if you guys did not catch this, because I literally just watched this documentary on HBO Max a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, Loki dressed up and impersonating the infamous DB Cooper from the hijacking plane, airplane.
My God.
The only successful airplane hijacking in U.S. history, according to them. But yes, I when I saw Loki on this plane with the glasses and he takes the briefcase from the steward and jumps out the back of the plane, it's the exact same situation that DB Cooper did with his airplane hijacking. Homeboy walked away with like a couple $1,000,000, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the amount, but nobody has ever been able to find this guy. And if you watch the documentary, there's literally like 5 people out there that still believe they know who it was, and they're all separate and different people. It's the most ridiculous story I've ever seen, but pretty damn impressive by DB Cooper, to be honest with you. But the fact that Marvel is going so deep in their bag of making a reference like this, I don't know who caught this, if anybody else happened to catch this, but the moment homeboy jumped out of the plane, I was like, DB Cooper. And I absolutely love this. Somebody on Twitter was like, look, he's pretending to be Agent Coulson. I'm like, no, that's not Agent Coulson. I promise you. But let me ask you guys. I don't know if you've heard the story, if you know much about it, but what do you guys think about that?
I am so glad you pointed that out, because I did not notice that at all. But now that you pointed it out and I can see it side by side, oh Definitely. My gosh, that's perfect. That's almost better than the Tommy Wiseau theory.
What kind of phone do you have, Stewart?
I got a Samsung Galaxy S20, I believe.
You've got the biggest screen in the world on your phone.
we need to get you a Note 20 Ultra. That's what we need to do. We need to get you a Note, take you a little bit bigger, so that you don't miss all of this.
No, I mean, I think it was less about my phone screen. It was more about the fact that I just I only watched it once. I didn't really like pause through any moments that like kind of stuck out to me. And plus it was like kind of late at night, so I was kind of tired when I was watching the Loki trailer. So yeah, I in retrospect, I should have taken more time to look through the trailer instead of just kind of glancing through it like I did.
Yeah, everybody can't be Adam, you know what I'm saying? Them go gadget eyeballs and catch everything.
Hey man, it's these glasses, you know what I'm saying? Got that fine vision. You know, I like to pause and stop and look at the scenes. You know, I'm one of those guys. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, we want to know your thoughts on Loki here. Now that you got to see Loki looking great, man, in his jacket and his vote for Loki button. I'm really excited to see what they have in store for us. But if you guys had the opportunity to check out the Loki series or Loki trailer, I should say, certainly, what are your thoughts? Has it boosted your level of anticipation for this series, or are you still like, meh, we'll see what happens? But I'm really looking forward to it regardless, guys. All right. What was the next? This time, guys, again, we're going to focus on the series that had dropped trailers or at least first look glimpses. So I picked Loki to go first. Stewart, pick another one for me. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, or What If, or Miss Marvel.
Let's do WandaVision next, because that's the one we know the most about out of all of them.
Yes, WandaVision is up next, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go ahead and highlight that again, along with all these other titles that we've certainly gotten. We did get ourselves a brand new trailer, which honestly looked really, really good. Honestly, each trailer seems to continue to get better and better. Teyana Paris, I believe, is in here. Also, we get to see another glimpse of her as Monica Rambeau. In here, she looks just as confused as Wanda as to why she's there in the first place. So something clearly happens when you get into this particular town and setting. But I love also getting to see how vast, again, this journey is going to be for Wanda and Vision. Not just really focusing on the classic sort of black and white TV sitcoms, but you can even see it transition into color, really going through all the different phases. I think one of the more recent articles I read was saying that she was definitely going to be focusing on like the modern life. I think it was like The Office and things like that also. So they're really paying homage to a ton of television series in here. But let me jump to you first, Stewart, just because you picked out WandaVision. When you saw the WandaVision trailer for yourself, certainly what were your thoughts in regards to it? And was there anything in particular that stood out to you?
It was kind of the same thoughts I had with the first trailer. Really good, loving the style that they're going for with like kind of imitating, but not like half-assing the imitations, like actually, filming it the way it would have been filmed like back then. Like I love that. But the things that stuck out to me, were some of the new characters that we saw in this trailer, especially like that I don't know who I am like kind of moment. And then I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that the voice that we heard, it sounded like the FBI agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes, he is in it. He is in it as well.
And I believe we saw him for a brief moment as well. But I think that the voice we hear when we hear the voiceover saying, Wanda, I need you to, I believe it was like wake up, or Wanda, where are you at? Or it was him. It was a voice vaguely trying to talk to her. I'm pretty sure that was him. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm very curious to find out what his involvement in the whole thing's going to be.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking to myself, like, who is that speaking to her? A part of me was wondering if that was like another Avenger or something like that trying to get to her. But I think you're right. It was just gentleman. I can never remember his name. Do you guys recall what his name is? The actor's name?
No, but I know what movie he was in to go look it up.
Yeah, he was definitely in Ant-Man, but yeah, he's definitely going to be in here again. We even got the opportunity to see Wanda, which looks like she was looking into the Mind Stone, which I found pretty interesting. It wind up exploding, if I'm not mistaken, in the trailer, and kind of engulfed her in some power. So I'm kind of wondering if they're kind of hinting at how her abilities have grown since that time. I'm wondering if maybe the explosion that she had to deal with destroying the Mind Stone in Avengers Infinity War, I wonder if that's what that flashback moment is, maybe focusing on the Mind Stone, maybe increasing her abilities or increasing her power more than they were before. I'm not quite sure, but I thought it was a really fascinating scene. So I'm kind of curious to see how that winds up playing out in the long run when it comes to this season. But part of me is wondering if that's a reason why she's kind of going on the brink of going crazy in here. What do you guys think, though?
I think exactly going on. I think they're gonna play it close to House of M, but still make it, what I'm saying, their own thing. I doubt what everybody's thinking is that it's gonna be a reverse House of M, where instead of no more mutants, let there be mutants. But I don't even think that's where, what I'm saying, gonna come from. I think what she's doing is going to have more to do with Doctor Strange than anything else. I do believe she ends up being what he has to stop, or she unleashes something that needs, you know what I'm saying, to be stopped. But the way they are hinting to us about things that are happening, and like us comic book heads that are actually paying attention to see if stuff is staying towards, you know, staying with the comic books, I think that's exactly how they're using that against us. And they're just going to do something totally different that we're not expecting.
So you think you know comic books, but we're gonna switch it up on you. I get it. I kind of dig that idea.
Yeah, I'm also thinking there's going to be some elements of House of M. I think the major one that's going to play out is the question that, like, and I think that Randall Park, that was the actor's name that we were trying to figure out.
Yeah,
Randall Park,
Jimmy Woo in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I feel like for him, because I know a few people, because they really like his character in the comics, a few of them were kind of upset that he was used for just comedic relief in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I feel like there's a chance his role might be a little bit more serious. Like, he might still have the funny moments, but I think it might be played a little more straight this time. So I'm wondering if we might have that same moral scenario in House of M, where you have mutants like legit wondering if killing Wanda might be the best way to solve all these issues. Because on the one hand, you're killing, which is never, which should never be justified. But on the other hand, it's one of those things where, every minute, we wait could be like another life that could be taken, just because of her insane powers, like being under, like, out of control. And I'm wondering if they're going to use him to be that character who has to make that decision.
I hope so. I think storyline wise, I think that would be pretty great, honestly. Now this, go ahead, Indy.
I just want to. It's interesting because what you said about people not being upset about the way Jimmy Woo's character was used as just comedic relief. I mean, he was a very serious character. When I first saw him, I thought Yellow Claw was going to be introduced or something like an Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was a villain that tried to take over the world, but. We have a huge WB movie that's getting ready to come out, right? That's going to hit HBO Max. What if it's leading up to a Marvel Godzilla crossover? Because Jimmy Woo was one of the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was sent to stop Godzilla at one time in the comics.
Yo, if that were to happen.
Oh, man. I feel like, if anything, Ultraman could be introduced to the MCU before Godzilla, because, I mean, Marvel and Disney have both, or specifically Marvel's been doing stuff with the Ultraman comics, so theoretically that could be possible.
Yeah, you guys know how I felt about Ant-Man and the Wasp too. So this character, I barely recognize him. I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't pay attention to him really, besides his comedic factor.
They wasted some good characters in that movie. They wasted some really good characters in that movie. That was just one of them things where they were just trying to bridge to something else, and they needed a way to explain something, and they totally wasted a movie. And
I wanted to see Lawrence Fishburne grow. That's really what I wanted to see. I wanted to see him turn into Goliath. But anyway, going back to WandaVision here, it is in fact set to go ahead and debut January 15th. So literally a month away, guys. We're about to probably wrap up The Mandalorian here within the next couple of weeks. So then it looks like we'll probably have a good 2 weeks until after that, and then WandaVision will certainly be here for us. So I'm super pumped. If anything, I may tackle doing WandaVision. I may tackle doing WandaVision here. Or if anything, we'll see depending on people's schedules. Maybe it's something that we do as a group. I'm not sure how many episodes it's going to be, 6 or 8. But we'll definitely keep you posted. But definitely make sure WandaVision will in fact be reviewed here at A+ Hero Report. So if you haven't subscribed, do yourself a favor and go ahead and do so. All right, guys. Anything else in regards to WandaVision you wanted to discuss?
I mean, Jimmy Woo was at one time replaced with a life model decoy. So I'm just trying my best to get an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tie-in.
Hey, maybe it'll happen, man. Maybe it'll happen with some of the things that we see developing down the road, which we'll talk about. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may pop up once again. You never know, man. But other than that, guys, that'll wrap up at least the WandaVision stuff. And so since Stewart picked Indy, let me send this over to you next, man. What's the next topic that you want to get into in regards to announcements or trailers that were at least revealed to us this week? So we've got What If, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Miss Marvel. Which one you want to move on to?
Let's go ahead and do the big dog, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming at you guys here, which I believe they didn't give an exact date for its release, but they did state it was going to be dropping March in 2021 at the end of the exclusive trailer. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier, March 2021. So look out for that also. I'm assuming that's going to drop right after WandaVision. So Marvel's just telling us, hold on tight, because you guys are going to get, you guys have been wondering where we've been all of 2020. Well, 2021, you're probably going to get tired of Marvel with all the great content that's about to head our way. But we did get ourselves a brand new trailer in regards to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And can I be perfectly honest with you guys here? Super unpopular opinion. I didn't really care for this trailer too much, guys. I just did not. I mean, you know, great to see Sebastian back. Love his new costume, his new look, looking fresh. Got the fresh cut and everything. He does. There are moments where he looks like he's been through some shit though. Like, so I'm interested to see what his character's been up to since Endgame, honestly. And of course, Anthony Mackie and his really amazingly looking Falcon costume. I do love the new look, but I am also kind of glad, kind of bummed that we didn't see Anthony Mackie in his Captain America suit. I know he mentioned the idea that he has been fitted for it, but I guess I'm assuming, if anything, the majority of this series is literally going to be the Falcon and Winter Soldier, maybe facing off against whatever evils are out there, the U.S. agent stuff, right? We clearly know just from the trailer how he says, you know, how when it comes to the Shield, it's a complicated situation, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that complicated situation or that complicated history showcases itself for majority of this season. But I think maybe last episode we get to see Anthony Mackie finally don that Captain America costume. If I had to make my assumptions here, I would love to see this series end with Mackie as Cap. But outside of just seeing familiar faces, getting to see a quick Baron Zemo, the great action was in here, but it just didn't give me that oomph that I really was looking for, in a sense of like, this is the series that you've been waiting for. If there was a goosebumps moment for me, though, it had to be watching the Falcon flying at the end of the trailer. I definitely got some Man of Steel vibes for some reason, of like seeing Henry Cavill flying through the caverns and the canyons and stuff. Even though this was much more action oriented, it still gave me goosebumps seeing Falcon just maneuver in the sky so flawlessly in that battle in the air. But you know, other than that, it honestly just did not punch me the way that I wanted to. But I'm still looking forward to this season, just because I think the storyline is going to be incredible. Let me throw this over to you first, Indy, though, since you wound up picking the Falcon and the Winter Soldier to talk about. What stood out to you in this trailer, and what are you looking forward to?
What stood out in the trailer, not trying to be a Debbie Downer, because you know we don't do that here. Absolutely nothing. Nothing stood out in the trailer for a show with one of the things when it was first announced we were actually really hyped for.
I'm actually surprised that you're saying this, to be honest with you. Like, when I gave my opinion, I thought I was going to be the only one on this panel saying that, but I'm glad to know that you found it uneventful also.
No, I feel the trailer was shot wrong. I feel like it should have been more mystery stuff. Should have been, this would have been one of them things where if you had a villain talking from the dark and then you're just glancing at like bad stuff happening, and then you see Sebastian, you see, my bad, I'm still calling him Sebastian. If you've seen the Winter Soldier talking to Falcon, talking about you have to be the one, and then you see it's a different way it could have been shot to make it more compelling than what it was. This literally looked like something that somebody put together for a high school presentation or something like that. Like, they just put like them fake trailers you see on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's what this looked like to me. Now, let's
take some shots from Civil War. We'll throw that in there. Maybe some maybe some Winter Soldier shots. We'll throw that in there.
And so Disney didn't get everything right. You know what I'm saying with their announcements. Anthony Mackie's performance in this trailer seemed overdone to me, especially the last scene when he's trying to get on Winter Soldier's nerves. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like it was too much. That seemed like it was supposed to be like B-roll footage that wasn't even supposed to to make the trailer. It just didn't seem right. And I saw what they were going with there. They were trying to go with when Cap was running past, you know what I'm saying, Falcon, and lapped you again. You know what I'm saying? On your left, on your left. Like they were trying to get that vibe, you know what I'm saying, with it. They just failed. Now, him flying through the air with his wings spread, you know, with the missile, with them following like that was cool. I love the way those wings, you notice how they're a lot longer. The frame looks bigger. It looks a lot better. Him doing his little out the air drop kick was cool. But I think they needed more in the trailer that showed where U.S. agent is a super soldier. The Falcon is not. He's just a normal trained human being in a suit, you know, that is trying to stand up for what Cap believe. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to be that all might, you know what I'm saying, of that Marvel universe. Be that what's the word that I'm looking for? That token, that flag that everybody can believe in. You know what I'm saying? That makes the villain stay away.
That symbol, right?
That symbol, that's the word. He's trying to be the symbol of truth, the symbol of America. In a way, and not only be the symbol of America, be a black man, be the symbol of America. Because I believe they're going to have a lot of that tonality in there when it goes with it, and they should have went a lot more with that in the trailer. Winter Soldier just seems like he's not important at all. You know what I'm saying? Like the couple lines he had, and it was like, it should be you. It's not the Winter Soldier that I remember seeing in Black Panther. It seems like they started to make him more of a secondary character, even in Endgame and everything like that. He just doesn't seem like he's as important as what he should be. And I lost a little bit of hype for the show. We already know it's gonna look amazing, but I'm kind of worried about how they're gonna tell the story and if it's even going to be important by the time we get past this other stuff like WandaVision and everything that we're gonna be checking out.
And before I pass this on to you, Stewart, just to clarify, Indy, it's not like you and me. Like we're clearly going to watch the series, and we're definitely hoping that it's good, and we certainly want to enjoy it. But I think what we're trying to say is our issues are with the trailer itself, you know, the lack of building that necessary hype, at least for the both of us. Not saying that the show itself is going to be crappy. We're definitely going to give it a shot, but that level of anticipation that trailers are supposed to bring you, it doesn't seem like it hit us that well. But what about you, Stuart? Did this trailer hit you pretty well, or how did you feel after watching it?
Like, I think I enjoyed it more than both of you guys, but I definitely see where you're coming from. I feel like the trailer was way more excited to show off how high budget the show was, and therefore it was more focused on showing just the action segments of it. And usually in all superhero movies, and like kind of going to what Indy was saying about the Winter Soldier just kind of like not feeling like the same character, I noticed that like a lot of times in Marvel movies, I'm not trying to say this is bad, but you know, it's the same thing with a lot of action movies. A lot of the one-liners that you kind of tend to get from those characters always never really make sense when you think about them in the sense of those characters. Like in a real fight, you don't tend to use those type of one-liners in general. It's there for us as the audience to just, you know, get a little more of an extra kick out of these fight scenes. So that's why I think, you know, his character may have been like seemed slightly off, is because we've only really seen him throughout all the fight scenes. But yeah, I do think that the action looks really good from what they showed us. And it also makes me think, because of how little of the story that they showed us in the trailer, you know, I don't necessarily think it was because they wanted just to show off the action. I think it was more that there's just something that happens in this that they really don't want to show off yet to the audience. And I think me personally, I'm thinking it's going to revolve around U.S. agent, like, you know, like kind of going back to, again, what Indy was saying about, you know, having a black man represent, you know, Captain America. Something tells me like what's going to happen in the plot is, you know, the U.S. government, despite, you know, Captain America being the one to hand his shield to Mackie, is going to be like, yeah, no, we've already chosen our other guy who's going to be the new Captain America. We've already given him the superhero serum. Just stick to being Falcon. You know, I feel like that's the kind of storyline we're going to get, but I feel like they left that out of the trailer because they just wanted to show off their action, which I'll give it this. The action does look really cool, but like you guys were saying, you know, if you don't show us like a good story along with it, not as many people are going to care. So hopefully when a second trailer comes out, it focuses a lot more on what we can expect story-wise for the season.
I'll go ahead, Indy.
I'm sorry. Do you think that this could have something to do with a secret invasion or maybe a rebirth or retelling of Hydra with all the time stuff that's been told, you know what I'm saying, going on, and that could play into the, you know what I'm saying, the white supremacy, you know what I'm saying, thing in the storyline on what's going to happen? Because I can see what you're saying if they're trying to hide something. But I still feel the cinematic value of the trailer was lost because of the way they presented it. Because in that case, they could have gave us a 15-minute roll of just something, you know what I'm saying, to just hook us real quick, to let us know. I would have been perfectly fine with a scene of Cap handing him the shield again, maybe seeing the shield on the table, and then maybe, you know what I'm saying, Anthony Mackie's character going, that's a lot to live up to, and then giving us a role of a couple of action roles, and then ending with seeing U.S. agent running onto the field like he was, and was like, no, this is our man. You know, just to set us up for the type of that to me would have gave him bigger emotional response than what we got, because we got to remember, we spent years with a lot of these characters and we're tied to a lot of these characters, and all you had to do is just poke us in the right way, you know what I'm saying, tug our heartstrings the right way to get us locked into something.
Yeah, and I totally, like I said, I do see where you're coming from for that, and I do agree with you, in fact. But I think that in the terms of marketing, because I think this is the first, with the exception of like a few seconds that we saw in their like reel that they released like a while ago, this is their first like full trailer, and I think it was a mistake on their part, but I think Disney was just thinking, oh no, Marvel fans don't care about story. They only want the action. So just show them the action. And I think the only reason we didn't get that with WandaVision is because I feel like that whole show is going to be a lot more story focused than action focused. So it was a lot easier to show off the story elements to it. But I feel like with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there's going to be a lot of action in this show. And Disney mistakenly thought that that was the thing that Marvel fans cared about, like more than anything.
And just to piggyback off of some of your guys' thoughts, yeah, I'm definitely expecting us to get another trailer. I mean, we are 3 months out from this series going, and so I'm glad you guys brought up the idea that since this is really like only the first maybe official trailer, that usually the second trailer will usually probably get into more storyline details and maybe really help us understand what kind of series we're going into. So I am keeping my fingers crossed that if we do get another trailer, that's what they'll explore. Because for me, this was almost it just almost felt like Marvel just trying to remind us, like, hey, remember that buddy duo that you guys loved from Marvel? Here's Falcon and the Winter Soldier again. Let's have some moments with them on screen together, making some jokes, kind of thing. Just kind of keeping it a little lighthearted with maybe some dabbles of action in there. But for me, it just did not work. But again, it just didn't work as a trailer. Doesn't mean it's not going to work as a series. But the first trailer, not that impressed. But I'm certainly going to look for it. Certainly going to look out for this series, because there are some storyline moments and things that I really want to see kind of unfold in this show for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But real quick, shout out to Corey for coming in here. He says, I haven't seen any of the trailers for anything. Get on it, Corey. There's some great trailers out there, man. Loki's out there. What If trailer is incredible. Falcon and Soldiers out there. They even have Miss Marvel, a couple other ones too, man. So check them out whenever you get a chance, Corey. Shadow Nova also says Thursday was such a great day. We got the Disney conference, Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon 3, which is also fire, and the Game Awards. I haven't listened to Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon 3 as of yet. Let me know if Eminem's on any of those tracks. I'll check them out. But what else do we got? Indeed, this hate for M. All right, since you guys picked the other ones, I will pick the next one to talk about, and I want to dive into What If. This for me was already one of my more anticipated series to look forward to ever since we started getting some of the early concept art to kind of see what it would look like. We had some brief clips before also of animation, but this trailer that we wind up getting just made me soil my pants on several different occasions watching it. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. This is the type of animation I'm looking forward to. Marvel is definitely pushing the envelope. And again, this is a little bit off topic, but to all the Power Ranger fans out there that don't want a Power Ranger animated series of any kind, let me introduce you to What If, to just show you the potential of what animation can certainly be. Now, granted, I don't know if Hasbro would ever tap into that type of level of production for anything animated. Who knows? But the possibilities are always there when it comes to animation, and I think What If is a perfect example of that. Honestly, getting to dabble a little bit more into Peggy Carter's story. What if she was the one that received the serum? I mean, seeing like this shot here of an epic shot from the original Captain America, the first Avenger, of Steve bussing in with his soldiers and things like that. I thought that was a great callback. We had some great shots also of even Doctor Strange, which looks incredible, just seeing him face off against himself or whatever the case may be. Just a ton of stuff that we wind up getting in here, seeing the Watcher, T'Challa, and the Guardians of the Galaxy meeting up together. I mean, there's so much goodness that was in this trailer that I absolutely loved, and it makes me wonder how many adventures we're going to be getting out of here. I don't know if they've showcased to us all the episodes yet or not, but there are quite a few I would love to kind of see tackled in here. But for me, even though I was already highly anticipating this What If series, this is what a trailer is supposed to do, even add to the hype that I certainly already have. And honestly, this is probably in my top 3 right now in regards to series that I'm really, really looking forward to. And it's not even live action, but I'm really, really looking forward to this. But let me pass this to you, Stewart, here. You had the opportunity to check out the What If series. What are your thoughts in regards to it?
Loved every single frame of this. Like the art style worried me at first just because I wasn't sure how it looked very comic book like, which was cool looking, but I was also worried that would mean like the motion itself would be very stiff, because I wasn't sure how they would pull this off. But like seeing the actual trailer, it looks smooth. It looks like, just like really good. And then like some of the what if scenarios that they put in that they show off a bit are all things that do seem like they could be really interesting in their own right. But specifically with the Doctor Strange versus Doctor Strange fight, that's the one that has me the most intrigued, because they're already kind of tapping into not just like what if scenarios, but essentially this is kind of confirming a multiverse type of fight here, I believe. And I'm wondering if, knowing that the next Doctor Strange movie is Multiverse of Madness, I'm wondering if, despite what if being advertised as a standalone thing, not really tying into the MCU, if there might be like a secret tie-in to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Also,
might be onto something there.
Also, Captain America zombie. So Marvel zombies.
Winter Soldier with the long locks, throwing back that Captain America zombie shield. That was pretty badass to see.
Man. When it comes to that, T'Challa Star-Lord, the scene when he was like show me a tour in front of Howard the Duck. Just those callback to Marvel things not used to. What if Loki took over the world? Or even the miscellaneous shots of like it looked like they came from like Iron Man 2 when Tony was sitting in the donut, like when he like kind of like giving up on everything.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing where that could possibly lead to what's going on, and even the short Captain Marvel cameo. Yeah,
because she even adjusted her gauntlets and stuff. It makes me wonder what storyline she's involved in.
Yeah, there's a lot they could actually do when it comes to this, and it's real interesting on what they could do. And it's just like they said, with no Thor there, with Loki taking over the world, that's very interesting to me, because who's going to stop him? You know what I'm saying? If Thor's not there, what happens to Wakanda? If T'Challa becomes Star-Lord and he's not there, that maybe we get a thing where Storm is maybe, the one who's there in Wakanda handling everything. There's a bunch of stuff that they can tease. And like you said, we don't know what they could take and possibly make canon. or like you said, with it being multiverse and stuff going on. I just cannot wait to see this product on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, they did make they have always made it a something of importance to always point out that yes, all these series are going to be connected in somehow. So who's to say that maybe a character that we're introduced to in some weird different timeline doesn't wind up getting an appearance at some point in an upcoming movie? You know what I mean? So let's not take a what if completely out of the equation just because it's animated. So you might have brought up a good point there, Stewart. Honestly, I will say this: Jeffrey Wright voicing the Watcher, I thought was great in here. It begs the question, what if? I was like, oh shit, it gave me goosebumps. I was so excited. Jeffrey Wright sounds amazing in here. And then I just lost it, guys. There was one more. The going back to the T'Challa in Guardians of the Galaxy, that is Chadwick Boseman going to be doing the voice of T'Challa in this, which I believe will technically have been his last sort of Marvel role in the MCU. So yeah, that's going to be a really important and big episode, I think. Wakanda Forever for sure, man, in regards to that. So definitely look out for the Game of Guardians of the Galaxy. The GOT, man, the GOT gets me all the time. The Guardians of the Galaxy and T'Challa, because Chadwick Boseman will certainly still be there, man. It's gonna, I might shed a tear, but this to me, this looked incredible. If there was any non-believers, I hope people are in fact believers now in what they're seeing from What If. But no release date in regards to it, but we'll see what happens there. What's up, Indy?
I'm so sorry. It has nothing to do with what we have going on right now. But Hasbro post Nerf just released a pre-order for the Mandalorian Phase Post Blaster, and it's $119, and I'm like trying to stop myself from pulling the trigger.
Don't click it. Don't click that button. Don't click that button. Order denied. Don't click it. Oh, what's up, Stewart?
One more thing I gotta kind of bring up since Indy brought up Storm is the thought of what if, because I know this was being worked on before Disney officially bought the licensing for Fox, so before they were allowed to use any of these characters. But that being said, this is an animated show, and we know that Disney has the rights to animated Spider-Man stuff and along with animated X-Men stuff because they've still been producing it on Disney Channel. So I'm wondering if this might be kind of their excuse for introducing X-Men or, other different versions of Spider-Man as well into the MCU and not having to worry about any legal issues in that area.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. I was always under the impression that this all came to fruition after the Fox stuff.
It might have.
I can't remember, honestly, the timeline of it all, but I think they could probably get away with anything in this series, honestly. I think anything's a possibility.
Yeah, they can get away with anything animated, but it would be a unique situation and actually a smart situation if they decide to use some of the animated content beforehand, because, they knew about the acquisition beforehand. And if it works, it works. If it didn't go through, it didn't matter because, it's just story. But if they did take that in order to some way tell some type of story and weave that in there, that would be a unique situation in order to do that. Because I
honestly wouldn't have seen that coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had animated, things actually tie into, stuff before. I mean, we saw it with the Animatrix.
Good point. Yeah. Good point there. I didn't think about that either. But yeah, guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts at the end of the day in regards to what if you guys have gotten an opportunity to check out the trailer. What are certainly some of your thoughts? Did it boost your level of anticipation? Is this a series that you wasn't quite sure how you felt about it, but now that you've gotten your first look, you're all about it? Definitely go ahead and let us know your levels of anticipation for What If, ladies and gentlemen. And with that one out of the way, guys, the only other Marvel title that did show some footage, if I'm not mistaken, is in fact Miss Marvel, who's going to be played by Iman Vellani. Literally just started filming here maybe just a couple of weeks ago, and already they wind up giving us a very brief sort of sizzle reel, if you will, to kind of show off Iman Vellani. I will say this: I did love hearing really mostly the sizzle reel was the crew kind of discussing the process of putting this together and things like that, and their anticipation for what their excitement, I should say, their excitement level for what we could certainly be getting. But briefly, guys, what was your thoughts in regards to seeing just the small sizzle reel that we got of Amon Vellani? I think there was maybe only like 3, maybe 4 actual scenes, very brief, like her falling back onto her bed. I think her hanging out with one of her best friends, scoping out that costume that we were talking about a couple of weeks back, Indy. So I'm really interested to see what this season is going to have in store for us. But it sounds like it's actually going to be pretty fun, honestly.
I'm I don't know. I'm kind of iffy. I think the issue with me is there's a lot of similar content on television right now. So with Stargirl, with different, you know what I'm saying, with different things that we're watching with the Runaways whenever they decide to air that last season. So it seems pretty similar that to me. I think the only thing that's gonna get me going is my attachment to the character to start off with. I think I'm more interested in the big screen debut, which is supposedly supposed to happen, and you know what I'm saying, Captain Marvel too.
Yes.
So I'm for it. I just don't need it to be a Disney show. If you can get what I'm saying. I don't need Lizzie McGuire. I don't need that type of aspect.
That's what you're saying.
Just keep it straight. Understand that they can do teenagers with attitude without it being Power Rangers. I know somebody's gonna come with the Power Rangers reference. But keep it more Miles Morales like. You know what I'm saying? Just don't make it too Disney, and I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, you might actually get your wish. It may be like a little mixture of everything in here from what I've been able to see. You know, who knows? Maybe this series isn't necessarily directed towards us. You know what I mean? Some of the topics and things that they'll be focusing on, but I definitely do feel it'll have a very easygoing vibe, especially considering the fact that it's going to be focusing on a younger female and just her life in general. Her being a huge fanboy of Captain Marvel, it'll be interesting to see how she gets pulled sort of into this life and really just the type of lifestyle that she personally lives. I'm not too familiar with this character from Marvel at all, so this really will be sort of my first, outside of just seeing her in the comic books but not reading any of her particular solo series. This will really be my first sort of introduction to it. But just listening to what some of the creators and things like that have said, I think this is going to be certainly a more easygoing, pretty fun sort of, I don't want to say teenager series, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Stewart? What do you think we're going to get from here?
I'm pretty much expecting Stargirl, but with different characters. But in terms of like tone and what they might be going for with, you know, having a teenage protagonist, yeah, I do think it's going to be kind of the MCU's version of Stargirl, which I know they kind of did with Cloak and Dagger and Runaways, but you know, both those shows, like, while they are in the MCU, they aren't like the MCU TV show. So I feel like now that Kevin Feige has like full control over how these shows go, I feel like now he wants to, you know, have that exact style of television, but like with his vision to it. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. And I also do think that, you know, one point that kind of came up, and you know, I'm sure I'm still going to enjoy it, but I guess this will be the Marvel show where it's like, you know, we're not exactly the target audience. They're definitely going to be going for a younger audience for this show, and probably definitely going to try to hit that female demographic, which I think is good, you know.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I definitely do think that they should keep their eyes on their demographic for sure. Maybe this is going to be Kevin Feige getting into his Berlanti-verse bag, you know, trying to do his best Berlanti impression and seeing what he can kind of do with a teenager as far as a superhero goes. You know what I mean? Indy was looking at me like, what do you mean by that? But yeah, I just mean the idea of taking like a teenage, you know, female superhero and things like that and seeing like what kind of world he's going to introduce us to. What are the supporting characters going to be like? For me, I'm kind of really intrigued to kind of see how a Pakistani female handles the idea of being a superhero. It really is a very unique concept and idea to me because of the fact that while I've seen her in the comics, I haven't actually read the storyline. So I would love to kind of see what that family environment is like. Do they approve of her being a hero? Do they not know that she's going to be a hero, right? Like, what are some of the pushbacks that she's going to have for herself? Or is she just that big of a fan that she doesn't really care about, you know, her Pakistani beliefs? beliefs or her upbringing. You know what I mean? Like I'm really fascinated to see what they do here, and if she can be sort of that a social awkward butterfly, if you will, that's trying to fit in and find her place in this world. I think there's a lot of fascinating aspects to the character's story that they can really tap into. And just really briefly, even though we haven't seen a full trailer from her, I feel like just the subtleties and maybe her performances from this small little sizzle reel makes me feel like Marvel is probably really confident that this girl is going to nail her role and certainly deliver. So I'm eager to see what Iman Vellani is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, because they definitely got to be confident in her, because one thing I noticed, first thing I did when I saw that she was going to be the new Miss Marvel is I looked her up on IMDb to see what other things that she was in. She hasn't gotten anything on her page yet. So this is going to be her first actual, she might have done acting before in terms of plays and things like that, but this is going to be her first actual television role. So I'm pretty sure you don't make a move like that unless you have a lot of confidence in this person as an actor. So whatever she had for an audition tape, or however she auditioned for the role, I'm sure it was something that really blew their minds, and that's why they ended up hiring her. So I'm definitely expecting a really good performance out of her for sure.
She sold a game. If it wasn't for the story of that Avengers game being based around Miss Marvel, that game would have been just total crap. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. So she sold a game. Nice. She doesn't do bad comic wise, and let's put it all on the table. We need this to be successful so that we can have a Sam Alexander come down the line.
Sam Alexander?
Yes.
Hold on, Sam Alexander, Marvel. Oh, you mean Young Nova? Okay, yeah. I forgot his name was Sam. Okay, yeah, give it to me, man. We've been dying for a Nova for the longest time.
Yeah, because maybe that's something we get a group of them. Maybe instead of a younger Peter,
champions.
Yeah, maybe instead of a younger Peter, you end up with a Miles Morales. You know what I'm saying? Like do that type of thing, and maybe this is the first step of going there, because I do believe a Nova show that's honestly who I thought they would have went with first. Mm-hmm. But they're smart by going with the the more popular character, the Ghost spot, the Spider-Gwen and all that is overdone. I thought they also might have tried Squirrel Girl, but maybe she's just too niche of a character, to do. So this is the perfect spot for them to go to.
I feel like Squirrel Girl sounds definitely feels like a series they would have had on FX or ABC Family before Kevin Feige pulled the plug and said, that's not my MCU, so she might have gotten her opportunity. I thought they were trying to do a Squirrel Girl for a while, like the girl from Pitch Perfect. I thought they were trying to get her, or maybe that was fan casting from the girl.
No, that was her trying to fan cast herself.
Oh, herself? Okay. Okay, because I thought I do remember something along those lines. But yeah, overall, I again, it was just a really brief sizzle trailer for Miss Marvel. But it did pique my interest because I'm not too familiar with the character, but we'll see what happens. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. But guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts. Again, these are just our A+ opinions. At the end of the day, we definitely want to go ahead and know yours. So that's definitely let us know what your levels of anticipation is for the Miss Marvel series. And I think that wraps it up, at least in regards to the series that wind up actually having some trailers for us to actually look forward to and break down. So I guess let's just start talking about some of these other titles here, guys, that wind up really jumping out to us, and some of the news that we wind up getting. First off, though, I guess I'm trying to think if we should go in just order of how we have it. We're going to go in order of how we have it up here, and then we'll come back to this. So let's talk a little bit about She-Hulk first. She-Hulk, ladies and gentlemen. Mind you, Tatiana Maslany has in fact been confirmed for this role. This is a topic that we talked about on A+ Hero Report when it was announced that she could be potentially in that role. What I found rather interesting too, though, is that just a couple of weeks back, wasn't it Tatiana Maslany that was saying, no, I'm not playing She-Hulk. I don't know where this news is coming from at all, being completely oblivious. There probably was a Marvel sniper scope right on her head at that moment. So that explains the denial. But she can't deny it anymore, because Tatiana Maslany is in fact She-Hulk, according to Kevin Feige. And not only that, guys, not only that, but Tim Roth as the Abomination is in fact returning to this series, ladies and gentlemen. The Abomination is back. I don't want to say there's a reason why Marvel didn't kill him off at the end of the Incredible Hulk, but they clearly remembered, hey, we still have this guy in our bag of tools, and they are in fact bringing him back. Now, I can't lie. I am thrilled also at the idea that we're going to be getting ourselves a General Ross, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's going to be in this series too. A part of me was always kind of hoping that we would see like a Red Hulk. I've been keeping my fingers crossed that at some point in time we would get to that storyline. I don't know if that's something that we'll tackle in regards to a She-Hulk. Who knows? Maybe she has to face off against Red Hulk and the Abomination. Who certainly knows? But Kevin Feige also mentioned that this series was going to be on the comedic side of things too. That it definitely was going to have its humor element. Considering the writer that they have brought on board for this series, it definitely makes a ton of sense, honestly. But I'm really looking forward to this season to this series. So a comedy aspect, a law drama aspect, clearly some action involved because of the fact of Abomination being in here. I'm really ready to see Tatiana Maslany go and get into a slugfest, man. So you guys hear some of this news, Tim Roth returning, General Ross and things like that. What are your thoughts? Let me jump to you first, Indy. In regards to this, how are you feeling about a She-Hulk series with some of the announcements we have?
Well, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. What Shadow Nova said, I'm totally on par with that. I hope we get Leader and She-Hulk too. That would be freaking amazing for me. Maybe that's too many villains as it comes out to the first season. But for me, I'm a villain head. I've always been a villain. Give me more villains rather than heroes. Like stack the odds, get the heroes, and really make them overcome. I'm looking very much forward to this for one reason and one reason only, and that is the possibility of Matt Murdock. That's the only reason I have any interest in this series at all. That and watching how many people She-Hulk hooks up with. Them two. because not only could we possibly have a Matt Murdock, you know what I'm saying, She-Hulk and Luke Cage also, you know what I'm saying, Luke Cage gets around, She-Hulk gets around, so hopefully we can bring Luke Cage back the same way. Nice. And we can start to bring some of our other series back. No, I think it's actually going to be good, and I think this show is going to be a good opposite of all the deeper stuff that we have to go into, because like you said, there's going to be more on the comedic side. I hope we get like some Harvey Birdman-esque courtroom scenes in there, and it's just something to keep us, something to bring us a little bit out of all the heavy stuff that we're going to have from the other series. Because even though the What If is going to be entertaining, a lot of that stuff is going to be a little bit heavy with some of the stuff the characters are going through. The same thing with Falcon, the same thing with WandaVision. There's going to be a lot of heavy moments. I really feel like the She-Hulk series could be the opposite of that and give us our GOT, you know what I'm saying, esque, or AntMan-esque, you know what I'm saying, comedy to pull us out of all of that and show us that Marvel has more than just one side.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, a She-Hulk and Miss Marvel are probably going to be those great sort of bufferings to switch things up a little bit, you know, give us a different flavor and a different vision and theme from a lot of the other series that we're going to be getting also. But I'm glad that you wanted to bring up the Matt Murdock thing. We'll see if he pops up. But this was actually additional cast announcements from Kevin Feige that day at the Investor Day. Tim Roth, again, Abomination, and Mark Ruffalo will in fact be the Hulk in this movie or in this series also. So Mark Ruffalo will in fact be coming in as Bruce Banner is in fact the cousin to Jennifer, who will in fact be turning into She-Hulk. So this honestly should not come as a surprise. I mean, considering the fact that they've mentioned how much these are going to connect to the Marvel movies, you have to think that they're probably going to utilize their Marvel stars to kind of help shine some light on these series and kind of help introduce them and bring them into the MCU. So it certainly makes perfect sense in my mind to go ahead and bring Mark Ruffalo in, considering the fact that at least comic book wise, it is in fact his blood transfusion, I believe, to kind of save Jennifer's life that winds up giving her this gamma radiation and allowing her to turn into She-Hulk in the first place. So the appearance of Mark Ruffalo doesn't surprise me. So a part of me is kind of hoping maybe we get a cousin team up. I'm telling you, man, let's get a Hulk and She-Hulk versus Red Hulk and Abomination in this series. And I take my money, Disney. I don't know if that's happening, guys. That's just me speculating and being overly enthusiastic about it. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how much different this season or this series is certainly going to be from the other ones.
So I got a question for Stewart. Before you give what you feel about this, I want to see how you feel about this scenario. I know we've been talking a lot of at the end from Far From Home when Spider-Man identity is given up, right? And we talked about him having to go to court to clear his name. And we talked about that.
Hey, keep talking about She-Hulk. I'll be right back.
Okay. And we talked about that possibly being like a Matt Murdock. You know what I'm saying? What if it's not? What if it's Matt Murdock tutoring, you know what I'm saying, She-Hulk, so that she goes into the courtroom and she's the one that gets Peter Parker off?
I think that would be a lot more likely, technically. Wait. Oh, never mind. I thought I was muted for a second. Yeah, no, I think her being the one to help Peter Parker in his movie would make a lot more sense. I don't see them both making a cameo in the Spider-Man movie, but I do see him making a cameo in She-Hulk and maybe kind of, you know, like you were saying, kind of mentoring her, like in terms of, you know, superhero law, I guess you could say. So, and then seeing that play out in the Spider-Man movie as well, I could see that totally being all connected. Definitely, especially with like kind of the direction they're going with these Marvel shows. Yeah, I think my thoughts overall on this whole show, though, I think there's definitely a lot of potential there. And the biggest thing I'm still really curious about is like knowing that they're going for a more comedic tone with it. I'm curious if they're going to go full on comedy. Like, are they going to have her breaking the fourth wall like she did in the comic books? Or is it just going to be like kind of like it's going to be like self-aware, but not in a full, like straightforward fourth wall breaking joke, but more in a meta humor type of sense. If you know, like what I mean by that, like the other thing is with General Ross being in the show. If he is, I kind of hope that he's not the main villain or anything. I wouldn't mind him being in there. But the only reason I don't really want to see him become Red Hulk and become like the main villain to her is because I always see Red Hulk as the main villain for the Hulk, not the main villain for She-Hulk. So personally, I would rather see like his storyline end with either a Hulk movie or just, you know, he gets his ass kicked by the Hulk, something like that.
Yeah.
Heck.
Now I forgot what I wanted to say. he made such a good point. It made me completely forget what I was thinking about.
I mean, yeah, I definitely get what you're saying in regards to Red Hulk being a Hulk villain. I still think he could be utilized. I think I lost. I think Stewart. He's coming back in a second. I still think it could be utilized as both, especially if you're utilizing it in a way to go ahead and bring She-Hulk into the MCU. Considering just the past that both General Ross has with Bruce, I think it definitely would work out okay. Down Knight says my younger cousin Ralph just texted me that he decided to tune into the live stream. He said, "What's up?" Hey, what's up, Ralph? Appreciate it, man. Send in a message yourself, Ralph. Come on, man. Introduce yourself. We're not shy. In She-Hulk, what other MCU characters you like to cameo during the first few episodes besides Mark Ruffalo? I would love a Liz Ross to come back in some way or another. Yeah, I would love to see her come back. I don't know if she's I can't remember. Liv Tyler, is that who played her?
Yeah, Liv Tyler.
Yeah, I don't know if she's doing anything. Betty Ross. Yeah, I would love to see her come back. I don't know the necessarily connection between her and Jennifer, but I think it would be pretty cool.
Matt Murdock. Luke Cage. You want me to go through all the Netflix characters?
What was his old friend? Was it Rick Jones? What was his friend Rick Jones? Yeah, maybe introduce Rick. Let's get Rick in the series also.
if they bring back Betty Ross, please. I just really hope. I forget her name, but the actress that played her,
Liv Tyler.
man, she needs to like tone it down a bit, because when she was in Incredible Hulk, like she's a great actress. Don't get me wrong, I love her in Lord of the Rings, but man, she was literally the worst thing about that movie. Like I've never been blown away before by how bad a good actor's performance can possibly be. So hopefully she kind of tones it down a little bit if she does make an appearance in She-Hulk.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what happens there, man. I am looking forward to it though. It should be rather unique, this series as a whole, honestly. But guys, huh?
Nick Fury.
What about him?
I'm just
as far as who you would like to see come in. Oh, nice. Okay.
Agent Coulson.
Yeah,
and you already did say Matt Murdock, so yeah, Matt Murdock is probably my number one. It's probably my number one cameo that I would like to see after Mark.
If not him, the guy that he had the law firm with that went to go work at the other law firm.
Happy?
No, not Happy.
Foggy. Yeah. So many damn names.
Some connection, an old girl from True Blood, just some connection to that. You know what I'm saying? That Daredevil, that Netflix because you could do her like you do Night Nurse. You could have her come over and start connecting them worlds back over, because she moves around a lot. I mean, she moved between the different shows herself with the Punisher and everything. You have her come over and she could be the liaison for Matt Murdock, because technically we're not supposed to know where Matt's at.
I guess that's true. Yeah, we're not supposed to. All right. The next one that I want to go ahead and talk about real quick. You know what? We're going to go into Hawkeye, ladies and gentlemen. I will say this. Hawkeye during the investor meeting, I don't believe had a lot of screen time, but they did show a very brief sort of sizzle reel. I don't even know how they managed to put this little sizzle reel together. I mean, it was super simple. It didn't really do too much, but the only thing that they really showcased in the sizzle reel itself was literally just Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, like just him being Clint. And then outside of that, they did have a brief image or a brief shot, I should say, of Haley Steinfeld pulling back that bow and arrow, man. I'm gonna see if I can try and find a photo of that per se, but what we have been getting, at least over the past week or so, is a ton of set photos that's coming out of the Hawkeye series as of right now. So even though Kevin Feige didn't have too much to say, I think he's probably letting a lot of the set photos that have been leaking kind of speak for themselves, if you will. So I do want to highlight some of those real quick for you guys. So here's I absolutely love this shot of Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. We're finally starting to see her in her full-blown Kate Bishop costume, and damn, does she look fine. I cannot lie. I mean, Haley Steinfeld is killing this role already as Kate Bishop. I've absolutely loved her in everything that she's touched, from Bumblebee all the way back. So I'm really excited to see how she's going to bring Kate Bishop to life here. But here is, in fact, another shot of her as well. I'm assuming this is all taking place in New York. And then we have ourselves a nice little collage as well of Hawkeye and Kate Bishop together. Well, what are your thoughts that you guys are seeing here from some of these photos? How are you liking the costume, I should say, first and foremost, of Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop? Let me throw this to you first, Indy. What are your thoughts in regards to that?
Personally, I don't like the costume.
Okay.
I honestly think it's a little bit too simple, and it looks a little bit too much like to me, like the Fantastic Four costumes with a different color. I would have really had her have something that stood a little bit out. I love Clint's later costumes, you know what I'm saying, as they went on, or give her some type of maybe overcoat deal, just something to make her seem more. This looks very based like you started an RPG and these are the clothes they gave you to start off with.
I mean, I feel like this is probably even better base than what Hawkeye first started out with in the first Avengers film. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, although he did have that cool quiver section where he could like push a button and then it would rotate his arrows out. So maybe he was a little bit more upgraded. But I mean, hey, Hawkeye had to come from somewhere to, from nowhere to something. So maybe this is Kate Bishop's nothing and eventually will turn into something,
it seemed like Hawkeye went backwards. Like he started with more technology and then went down to like having none. Like by the time he was done.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the whole aspect of simple is better. Or maybe he just by the time he got to Ultron and saw Ultron taking over everything that was signed, he was like, nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna go back to wood and metal. I'm cool with all the technical stuff. But yeah, I was just a little underwhelmed with the costume, but I love her. If you look at her facial expressions and like through each picture, you could tell that she's really into what she's doing. Like even just looking at the stills, like, and Jeremy Renner is like he's just so done playing his role.
I'm just like, I'm so ready to pass this on to somebody.
Yeah, but that could be depending on when this show takes place. You know what I'm saying? Everything he's still dealing with the passing and that. You know, we still don't know what his status is as far as everything going on. He has a lot. He's probably the Avenger with dealing with the most. You know what I'm saying? Because he's basically the only one left that's human. You know, doesn't have any type of powers. You know, just has a skill set that he has to deal with. So it's like it's going to come to a time where stuff is just going to be too much for him. So he could be in the mindset of what can I do? You know, it's the type of thing. I did everything I could do. Lost my friend. Tony died. You know what I'm saying? He could be feeling worthless. So I'm curious to see his mindset more than, you know what I'm saying, what this young lady's going to bring to a role. But maybe she's the person that gets him out. This is just going to be a good series because maybe she's the person that lights the fire back for him and is the person that he looks at like he looked at Nat.
Nah, you could be right, man. I mean, yeah, maybe he is kind of at a low point, and maybe this is what Kate Bishop's purpose is, at least for him to kind of help get him back on his feet and have maybe some sort of purpose again. Who certainly knows, man? But I love the way that you wind up putting that together. What about you, Stuart? When you see these images, what's the first things that kind of go through your mind?
I kind of agree with, even though you guys had different opinions on it, I kind of agree with both of them to an extent. Like, I think she looks really awesome in this outfit, but I also have to go with Indy's analogy. It kind of looks like a base, like of when you're starting an RPG game, but I don't think that's a bad thing per se. I think this is a really cool base for her to start her own costume because, you know, I'm kind of assuming currently that everything she has going for her right now is what she built for herself essentially. So it is going to be kind of cool seeing her starting off by starting from scratch, but then like over time, probably as you know, Hawkeye begins to trust her more, and as the stakes get higher, you know, having Hawkeye probably be the one to hook her up with like the really awesome tech, and probably, you know, maybe literally like just like maybe she like loses her bow and arrow or something, and then he hands her his bow and arrow set, like basically to really pass down the torch at the end of the movie. So yeah, no, I think this is a perfect like starting costume for her essentially.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. I have a feeling they'll certainly evolve over time for sure. But I do think this is a good starting out point for her. I have no idea what the storyline is supposed to be for this. I mean, we have gotten some information, I believe, in regards to who's actually going to be in this series. They are going to bring in the Marvel character Swordsman, who is supposed to be playing the mentor to Hawkeye. I believe they also mentioned they're bringing in the Native American character in Echo, I believe, which is like a deaf superhero, I believe, that can mimic or learn your techniques and your abilities, your fighting style and things like that. So they definitely do have a pretty interesting cast. The lady from the woman that played the paranormal scientist in The Conjuring, I could never remember her name, but she's coming on board to one of the lady for, was it the Warrens or something like that? I can't remember, opposite of Phil Wilson. She's supposed to be coming in to play Kate Bishop's mom. So the cast itself is looking pretty good, honestly. So I don't know the full storyline, but just seeing Haley, let's call her Haley Bishop, Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us, man.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's going to be interesting with the Swordsman because I want to see if they go into some of his little backstory because he was a villain, like I think in Avengers number
first started or something like that. Yeah.
Avengers 19. One of those two. He started off as villain because he didn't change his ways until like Avengers 100 or something like that. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see if like with Clint dealing with the whole becoming the Ronin thing, if that's one of the reasons why he goes to somebody who thought the way, you know what I'm saying, he thinks in order to have that type of training.
Oh, that's a good point, man. That's a good point. Yeah, when they mentioned the swordsman, I've always been a big fan, at least of his costume. So I'm wondering if Homeboy's going to get a costume upgrade in here or not. But the moment they said swordsman, I just immediately thought to myself, like, yeah, this guy, either he's going to play the villain or he's going to be like, they're going to make you want to think that he's maybe the villain pulling the strings or something like that, and maybe give us a swerve at the end. Who knows?
But another cool thing about the swordsman is the 4 Avengers that were always involved with him were Captain America, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye. So I wonder if that's also going to have something to do to tie in, you know what I'm saying, with anything else that's going on.
I was going to say, like, with the swordsman, though, just with the actor that they got to play him, Tony Dalton, I'm really hoping he plays him kind of similar to the way he plays his character in Better Call Saul, where he's just so seemingly like the most approachable, nice dude ever. And then just like, but he can turn just like that. And you realize, oh, okay, he is the one pulling the strings. So I think if they're smart about, you know, the way they want to direct this character, if you get an actor like that, Marvel has to play it off as like, you know, he has to be like a twist villain type of thing. At least that's how I would do it if I had that actor working.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's why they brought him in. You know, maybe they saw his past work and was like, you know what, you fit exactly what it is that we're looking for.
Oh yeah.
What were you thinking, Indy? Did you lose it again?
No. I just thought about something. I thought the swordsman uses what?
A sword.
Do you know who? Hold on. Do you know who made his sword?
Oh, I want to say, I don't know why a part of me wants to say Morgan Le Fay, but I could be wrong.
No, the Mandarin made his sword.
Ooh.
So is that going to tie into Shang-Chi?
I hope so.
I love how we're trying to put all these pieces together here. Like, I love it. But yeah, guys, listen, we definitely will talk about Shang-Chi here in a little bit. Ralph says subscribe. Thank you very much, Ralph. And Ralph had a question for us, didn't he?
Yes.
Go ahead and pull it up.
What are you guys' favorite moments from the MCU from the past decade?
Ooh, from the past decade, favorite moments. One of them easily, anytime Luis tries to explain something to somebody in AntMan. All those moments are always epic to me. No, but for real, let me think on this one real quick.
I know mine. Mine.
What's yours, Indy?
Finding out how Nick Fury lost his eye.
No.
I promise you that is my, because watching Agents of Shield, watching him have all these different ways that he lost his eye and then finding out how he lost it was just the icing on the cake to me. Like
all the myth and legend that went behind it, only to find out it was a damn cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. I did hate that too. It drives so fucking crazy.
I got two
that
I can't pick between the two because they're both so freaking amazing. But one of them from Black Panther, which was Killmonger's death, I thought that whole scene was like freaking awesome and gives me chills every time. The other one definitely goes to I don't even need to say it. I could just do the motion for it. Avengers. Yeah, that. I mean, that was just the most. Everything building up to that exact moment was just so freaking amazing. You know, like by itself, it's just like whatever. But when you kind of watch it after having seen like over 20 movies at that point build up that moment, oh man, that scene gives me chills every time I watch it. It's amazing. So those would be my two favorites.
I do like that. If I had to pick, there are several. The first one for sure. I just remember my jaw dropping watching the. Man, there's a couple. Yeah, the Winter Soldier. The first time when we see the Winter Soldier and Cap makes his way onto the ship and you just see him single-handedly taking out everybody by himself, just like a one-man freaking army. I just kept thinking to myself, because I honestly was not the biggest fan of Captain America, the First Avenger, when I saw it. So when I went into the Winter Soldier, I was like, this is Captain America. This is the guy that I know from the comic books. I loved it. I loved it. So just seeing him whip some ass as his first time as Cap, I thought was brilliant. And one of the more iconic moments in MCU, and I'm sure a ton of people will probably use this one also, but the first Avengers movie, when you get the giant roll call of everybody, the camera shot of the giant circle of everybody coming together for the first time, and then Tony asking Captain America to call it, and you just see him pointing, just doing his cap thing and telling everybody where to go and coming up with these plans. I mean, gave me goosebumps as a gigantic nerd kid, man, to be honest with you. So those are probably two of my favorite moments, but trust me when I say there's so many that I can pick out that I really enjoyed, from moments to lines. I mean, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Captain America First Avenger, one of my favorite lines and my favorite moments is is Cap realizing that he's in the present now, no longer in the past, and Nick Fury asks him, what's wrong, and he's upset because of the fact that he had a date, he missed the date, or he owed somebody a dance. Like I just love the way that movie ended, because I thought it was really compelling for Cap for his storyline, at least.
No, I got an honorable mention, and this might be one of the greatest fight scenes ever in cinematic history. That elevator scene.
Oh yes.
that elevator scene was amazing. But then for them to go back in Endgame, you know what I'm saying, and then spoof it, because they know that was such a great scene, and then spoof it and just look at him and he just goes, "Hell Hydra." I mean, that to me was just.
That was the greatest, both in universe awesome, but also on a meta standpoint was amazing as well.
Yeah, definitely. But that Killmonger scene is one of the reasons why, you know what I'm saying, I had that made and put up on my wall, just that saying, and him knowing he was beaten but not wanting to be put in bondage, you know what I'm saying, and saying it's better for me to die than for you to take me as a prisoner, and it's just amazing to me.
I definitely agree. So thank you very much for the question, Ralph. Definitely appreciate it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get in onto our next one. This one actually will be a little bit brief because they didn't really give too much at the Investor Day in regards to this. But Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm just really anticipating a Marvel martial arts film, honestly, with a lot of heart and just a ton of lore built into here. Maybe referencing and going back as far as Iron Man 3, maybe some past Mandalorian talk from there. Just making further connections with the MCU. I personally would love to see, and we're actually going to get our first time seeing the real Mandalorian, the real Mandarin here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe that they've have they mentioned who the Mandarin's supposed to be? I'm not quite sure, but they did go ahead and at least release this cast to show who everybody's certainly going to be playing. I forgot Awkwafina was in this movie, honestly. You get Simu Liu here as Shang-Chi, Tony Leung as Wenwu. I'm not even going to try and butcher anybody else's names here. You guys can see everybody for yourself as far as cast goes. But yeah, other than that, I mean, even though I believe, if I'm not mistaken, filming has wrapped on Shang-Chi, they didn't show us anything at all, did they, guys?
No. That Razor Fist casting is new. I don't remember them ever talking about that before.
Oh, for Razor Fist? I'm assuming he's going to be one of the villains, perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Razor Fist. I'm actually not too familiar with Shang-Chi as a character in general, outside of I know he does Kung Fu, but other than that, that's really about it.
He not only does Kung Fu, but he is the master. Of Kung Fu.
Okay.
Yeah, master of Kung Fu comic books, like the original releases of those were some of the very first comic books I ever read, because my dad had a huge collection back in the day. He still does, and I'll read them every once in a while. But of all of his comic books that he owned, that was kind of, I want to say 50. I think that took up 50 or 55% of his whole comic book collection were just Master of Kung Fu comic books.
Nice. I love it. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, again, I'm surprised the fact that they had I'm assuming basically because of the fact of maybe when it's supposed to be released, maybe because I know that they've had to push back a couple of these films and release dates, maybe because it's so far out, they decided not to go ahead and show us anything. But I am just surprised that, I mean, they have a TV series that literally just started and they put together a 1 minute sizzle reel, and yet we've got nothing from Shang-Chi yet. So maybe they're definitely just biding their time and holding off on something.
Shang-Chi itself ties into an awful lot. So showing us anything could let everything that they're doing loose. on what they're going on. So I totally understand that. But I mean, tidbits. I mean, Shang-Chi was actually based on Bruce Lee. You know, that's what the design was based on. And one of the biggest things that I think he is going to have something to do with, especially when they keep talking about possibly having a Madam Web movie, is that Madam Web was the one who told Shang-Chi to train Spider-Man in the way of the spider. So, I mean, he's trained so many different people that we know out throughout the MCU and different styles of martial arts. It's going to be very interesting to see the base of this movie, if we're going to get him in full Shang-Chi mode, or if this is him coming up, learning what he needs to learn and becoming a master. It's going to be very interesting to see the marks they take, and the fact that it's the Legend of the Ten Rings and having everything going on with the Mandarin. Is this something that is going to? I just want to know what the Mandarin's biggest foe that we know of, that we're present to in present day, would it being Iron Man? You know what I'm saying? Is where is this taking place? How is this involving, you know what I'm saying, in our current timeline? And will we have that? Will we ever get that epic, you know what I'm saying, suit versus, you know what I'm saying, the Mandarin? I really want to see where this is going. So this has jumped up on my hype list when I sit down and think about everything that Shang-Chi revolves around.
Yeah, it's definitely up there on my list too, for sure.
And then this is actually a good question for Fu Manchu. What I think they're doing with this is I think they're legit taking that character arc, but giving it to the Mandarin. So I think like Shang-Chi's, because, was it? I think that it was either that he was his dad or his uncle in the comics. I can't remember exactly, but I think that they're going to be giving that to the Mandarin, just because like he's now kind of a public domain character, and so I feel like knowing Marvel, they kind of want to just go with their own characters that they own exclusively, like with the exception of Thor.
Shang-Chi was the son of Fu Manchu.
Okay, so it was, yeah. So if I had to guess, I'm assuming it's going to be like a lot of elements of Fu Manchu are going to be in the Mandarin. So I assume that the Mandarin is going to be Shang-Chi's father in this universe.
So I think it'd be better if he's adopted father, like Shang-Chi found out he was adopted or something. I think I'm against that. My father is evil and I must stand against him. Like, that's been done so many times.
Yeah, I mean, definitely exhausting for sure, man. So yeah, guys, Shang-Chi is coming. Definitely one of my anticipated ones also. I'm really, really eager to see what they do with that. A couple other things in regards to movies that we know for a fact are in development. Real quick though, just to say, Blade, they just said Mahershala Ali, I just butchered his name again, that they are continuing to work on that. There was no information in regards to Spider-Man 3, which is crazy despite everything that we've been seeing. I don't believe that there was anything in regards to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, with the exception of just mentioning that it is in fact that WandaVision is going to connect to that. Did you guys recall any other announcements that might have came out from the Doctor Strange?
None at all. I'm surprised they didn't have more on the Eternals.
Yeah, they didn't show anything really from the Eternals also. So yeah, that definitely was a little bit of a head scratcher. Captain Marvel 2 is one that came up very briefly, and you mentioned this Indy when we were talking about Miss Marvel, that they have in fact confirmed that Miss Marvel will be making her movie debut in this film. So what's your levels of excitement of finally getting the opportunity to see her in here, Stewart?
I think it's awesome because, you know, this definitely means for sure we're getting some. I mean, we've already got it in with like the fact that we got MCU characters already getting their own spinoff show, but this is it's going to be kind of cool to see like a full-on character that started off on TV, then moving into the movie, and then it'll be really interesting to see what dynamic her and Captain Marvel will have. I could definitely see it going in the direction of her in her own TV show, always looking up to Captain Marvel, you know, as being like, you know, a female superhero, you know, someone that she, you know, tries to aspire to be like, and then like actually kind of meeting her in her own film, maybe having Captain Marvel, you know, doubting Miss Marvel herself and like, you know, trying to say, no, you're not worthy of the Marvel name, only to be proven wrong at the very end of the film when, you know, Miss Marvel has to save her, something like that. I want to see some really cool dynamic like that, very similar to Spider-Man and Iron Man. I think a mentorship like that could be very similar.
Yeah, considering the fact that she's such a huge fangirl, I think that would be really great to see that kind of mentorship there. But yeah, this is Kevin Feige just confirming Nia DaCosta, in fact, as the director, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, Iman Vellani making her appearance as Miss Marvel, and of course, Teyana Paris going to be in Captain Marvel too. So not only from WandaVision, but also going to be in this film as well. I'm really glad that they're carrying her over into this movie. Honestly, I'm hoping this is where we get the opportunity to see her maybe don a photon suit at some particular point in time herself. But who certainly knows? I'm just ready for Monica to eventually become a hero that she is in the comic books at some point in time. But
I'm way too attracted to Brie Larson.
I mean, Lo, I can't lie, Indy. I feel like the more times I see her in the commercial or something like that, I'm like, is it just me or is she just getting more and more attractive each time I see her? I don't know what it is.
Just following her on Instagram and watching her do like her interviews and stuff like that, no makeup, you know what I'm saying? Just playing, just chill. Like her personality by itself is just.
I will say this too, man. I watched a video of her. She was talking about what she did over the summer in regards to mountain climbing for the first time, and watching that video of her. It was like a video vlog of her and her trainers and stuff, just kind of talking about Brie, and really Brie taking on the challenge to get involved in mountain climbing, and really just seeing how much they really pushed her and how much Brie really even pushed herself. Like for me, it honestly gave me an even more appreciation for Brie Larson just as a person, in regards to, really how fearless she certainly is, or at least is willing to put herself in uncomfortable positions in order to achieve some really great things. So yeah, I almost just think her personality and things, and the more I see of her, she's just such a likable person. I feel like it's hard not to fall in love with Brie Larson. Ralph says, I can see Miss Marvel arguing with Captain Marvel when teaching her how to be a hero, just like Oliver Queen and Mia Queen in Arrow. I can easily see that too. I don't know what Miss Marvel's attitude or personality is like yet, if she does have that kind of pushback about her at all. But for me, I can easily see Brie Larson trying to mentor Iman Vellani as their characters in that movie. So I think it should be some interesting camaraderie on set between those two for sure. Like, I mean, if there's any indication, granted, I mean, Monica at the time when we watched the first Captain Marvel was much younger than Iman Vellani's character in Miss Marvel. But if that interaction and that kind of joy of working alongside another kid and things like that, I'm hoping we get that same type of vibe or same type of energy that passes over here into Captain Marvel 2 with her working alongside a younger actress.
Yes.
I also hope we get some Nick Fury as well, because I really liked Nick Fury and Captain Marvel, because it was like a really fun buddy cop type of film, honestly.
Yeah. What, Indy?
Watch him try to find the button so he can unmute himself.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he winds up popping up in Captain Marvel 2 also. I mean, it would not surprise me if he did. I'm definitely feeling as though Nick Fury has a big mission involved. Now, whether or not that mission is detailed or brought to light in Captain Marvel 2, who certainly knows? But I can tell you what is brewing for Nick Fury, and that is, in fact, Secret Invasion, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect segue.
Marvel is not holding back any punches, man. They wind up releasing a bunch of new series and films that they're going to be focusing on even further past. I don't even know if this is part of Phase 4 or even beyond. I have no clue. But if you guys recall on A+ Hero Report several weeks back, we talked about Variety reporting that Samuel L. Jackson was possibly going to be getting himself a Disney Plus series as Nick Fury, and Kevin Feige has in fact confirmed that here. Secret Invasion will in fact see the return of Nick Fury. There might be somebody else attached to this project too. I don't know if it was Phil Coulson or not, but I could be wrong. I'll have to go ahead and look that up. But Indy, I'll even pass this to you also, because one of the things in here that we talked about was when it comes to the Secret Invasion storyline, comic book wise, it really had to deal with a lot of Nick Fury kind of going undercover, right? Kind of going behind the scenes. Nobody knew what Nick Fury was up to. Nobody could certainly find this man, only to see Nick Fury kind of come out of nowhere with a whole entire brand new crew to follow him into battle to go ahead and kind of help take down sort of this Skrull invasion. And if you recall, one of those team members was in fact Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So listen, you know, we've talked about this in the past, Indy, about how Marvel has neglected to highlight just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in general in its movies, with the exception of Agent Carter, that's been shown some love in the MCU. For the most part, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has kind of been forgotten. So do you think, because I think so personally, but do you think that this is going to be an opening, if you will, for them to eventually start introducing Daisy as Quake and maybe bring in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character or two? What are your thoughts on this, man?
110%. 110%. I think it's going to happen, just for the fact that that's a team that supposedly was supposed to be under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
So there would have been no reason for Skrulls to
Be aware of them or try and copy them
and try to take, you know what I'm saying, take line. Because you got to remember, in that storyline, Nick Fury went into hiding. So that's the reason why Coulson was made the director. That's the reason why Mac is the director now. So if Fury's off doing what he's doing, and that's who they're paying attention to, even if they know who Mac and all them are, they still shouldn't know about Daisy, Coulson, and what they're doing, because all their records and stuff have been wiped. They will be making a tragic mistake not to at least have Quake and Coulson as a part of that team, if not just Quake by herself. That is a beloved character, and a character that has built up to being on par with the Black Widow. I would say that she's already past the Calvary. You know what I'm saying? That she is if they go by the levels of what they do, she's the second best agent that S.H.I.E.L.D. has if you put Black Widow first. So why not take use of that and bring that world together? Because we should, if they want to do something right, do that, and then have that lead into the Quake. What was the team called that she was leading?
Oh shoot, it's funny you asked, because it was something with secret in it. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's not the Secret Avengers. What? No, that's not.
No, it wasn't Secret Avengers, but it was a team. I do remember it specifically having secret in it. Yeah, because they referenced it, in fact, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but like without directly calling it. It was. Oh man, I'm gonna remember it as soon as the broadcast ends. I just know it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like trying to Google right now and try to find it. I can't remember it. But Chloe Bennett is the epitome of what that character is, and they would benefit a lot, especially from her fan base, which is crazy. I think she has was that a Disney or Universal movie she had with the Abominable, whatever that was.
I don't even know.
Yeah, where she played she voiced led for the lead in that, you know what I'm saying, in that movie. She's on another level right now, and they should honestly take advantage of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Stewart, when you hear this news about Secret Invasion, Nick Fury getting his own series, I'm assuming, if anything, Captain Marvel 2 is probably connected to this, or maybe Secret Invasion is connected to Captain Marvel 2. Who certainly knows? But what are your thoughts in regards to this actually getting a series?
Sorry, could you give me 30 seconds? I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Do your thing, Stewart. I will. That's Secret Warriors. Yeah, that was the name of the crew. That was the name of the crew that they wind up having. Yeah, I personally would really love to see them focus or at least bring in some of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters for this moment. I really am. You know, I feel like the MCU just doesn't feel quite the same without Nick Fury involved, and so to kind of see him getting an opportunity to return, I think is a beautiful thing here. I'm just trying to figure out if we're going to at least get some idea of what his mission is going to be in Captain Marvel 2, or if we're going to have absolutely no idea until we stumble upon something here, like in a secret invasion.
I just got it. That it could easily lead to Secret Warriors for the fact that Miss Marvel was a part of the Secret Warriors.
Secret Wars, yes, she was. That's right. And then that eventually came on. She eventually joined Champions or something like that. The Champions team, maybe, I don't know.
And then the Patriot? Who would that was?
Young Avengers.
Yeah, was that the Falcon who became the Patriot? Am I right about that?
No, I believe it was the Patriot. I think was a kid.
Yeah, you might be right. But that had a lot to do. But then they bring in Squirrel Girl and like they could bring in Holla the Accuser, which was honestly crazy. What's funny about that is that Holla the Accuser was voiced by Ming-Na Wen. So that's bringing Miss Disney Princess herself, because she's the only person that's been in a Star Wars, a Marvel, and a Disney movie like in history.
I want to ask you guys a question. Looking at all this stuff here that we've kind of been broken down, and we still have a couple titles that we haven't even tackled yet that we're going to be getting into. But, you look at this whole entire slate that Marvel is unleashing on us, and it does feel very much like there are quite a few sort of mini events happening per se than just huge global huge crossover events, if you will, right? Like, we don't even know when there's not even an Avengers movie on this list.
They said that was going to happen, though. They said they would go back to like the mini events, and then it would be a while before you saw a huge crossover.
So I'm assuming, I'm assuming we're getting all of this before an Avengers movie. So I'm wondering what this is potentially all building up to. Like, I feel like Secret Invasion could be its own Avengers movie. Heck, Armor Wars could probably be its own Avengers film, right? Like, I'm wondering if the end game here, guys, is Galactus.
I'm not even gonna say it's Galactus. I'm thinking Galactus could show up in the Fantastic Four.
Okay, so me personally, I'm hoping we get a hint at Galactus in Fantastic Four. I hope he is the end game of this whole phase, because like Adam was saying, we have so much going on right now, and it feels like rather than just everything building up to one Avengers movie, which each of those Avengers movies are there to build up to, the last two Avengers movies in a lot of ways. I'm not saying Age of Ultron or the first Avengers were bad. They were great in their own ways, but they were definitely there with seeds to plant for, Infinity War, which was their big thing that they were excited about. I don't think they're going to be doing that anymore. I think now it's going to be a lot more movies in between Avengers movies. But when we get those Avengers movies are going to be treated like, Infinity War, essentially. So they're going to be treated as a much bigger in scope event, essentially, with a lot more things building up to them. And even when they're not building up to them, they still have their own mini events going on, like Adam was saying, like within their own individual story, in their own individual shows and movies.
Because it looks like you can get like a storyline here and have like 3 connective pieces, if you will, right? Like, you can go into a Miss Marvel, introduce that. You can then jump into something like a Captain Marvel 2 that still has connective tissues. And then that could still even go into a Secret Invasion. And that's like 3 different, like one gigantic overarching story, perhaps, but kind of all connecting these 3 series and sort of films together to have like their own little mini crossover event or big event, a tent pole type of thing. Like, I'm loving the way that this might be breaking down into.
I have an idea what this is all leading to, and to be totally honest with you, and when it leads to this, is going to reset them for the next 10 years. And I really think all of this is just leading to Secret Wars.
Okay.
That's why they're loading up. We're getting all the characters because you need so many involved. We'll probably get Illuminati, something, happen in the next phase. But I think it's all leading up to Secret Wars. I do believe we're gonna have, like Stewart said, it'd be good to hint to Galactus. I think Galactus will be almost like he'll be a big deal, but he'll be a mid boss. Like if you're playing a video game, he'll be a mid boss, and the end game is going to be Secret Wars. I do believe the big bad over these next couple of phases, you get introduced to him, but the person who is going to be the big bad over the whole collective thing is going to be Doctor Doom if done right.
Interesting. Okay. So you got Doctor Doom. I'm still leaning Galactus and Kang, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. Let's go into another film that we know is about to be or will be filming here rather soon. Not a ton of information, but some interesting information. Black Panther 2 is coming our way, ladies and gentlemen. It has in fact been confirmed Ryan Coogler will in fact be returning. And one of the things that Kevin Feige has stated is that T'Challa will not be recast. They are leaving the legacy of T'Challa to that of just Chadwick Boseman. They're not going to be recasting or bringing back that character. Who knows? Maybe something happens multiverse-wise. Who certainly knows? But as of right now, it looks like they're moving full steam ahead with a different story in mind and one that does not have T'Challa involved. So let me throw this over to you first, Indy. What are your thoughts in regards to just that announcement? Were you expecting Kevin Feige and Marvel to kind of go that route? Were you hoping that they would recast the role? What are your thoughts in regards to that? Did you have a preference?
I had a preference of do not recast. Go ahead, push forward, tell a different story. I honor that man's legacy, not only with Black Panther, but everything else, you know what I'm saying, that he had done as a human being, an incredible humanitarian, that was an incredible man. So I was okay with that. Here, I'm kind of lost about where they're going now. I really, Stewart, you're the movie guy. Let me know if you feel this or not. You know what I'm saying? If this would be a type of movie you made. But I do believe that in some way they still need to figure out how to get Namor into this movie.
I think you could still do that.
Somehow as the big bad, and maybe have the country of Wakanda have to be the ones to come together, because this could be a movie where you let the White Wolf, you know what I'm saying, come to prominence as far as maybe he gets called back to come and help. And you could make this movie about the country standing together and him coming to help because of what they did for him. You know what I'm saying? Making him as the person he was, where you can get Shuri as the new Black Panther standing side by side with the Winter Soldier. You know what I'm saying? Have that army of Wakanda going against, you know what I'm saying, the underwater city of Atlantis. But let Namor and his people, you know what I'm saying, have a machine that's powered by a certain mutant that can control the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And they captured her. You know what I'm saying? And use that because Namar's a mutant, she's a mutant, and use that to be the introduction along with Inhumans, not the Eternals movie, to be the introduction to, you know what I'm saying, the mutant crisis, you know what I'm saying, that's going on. And that's how everybody could come aware of it, because you have the Winter Soldier who should still be working for S.H.I.E.L.D. in the government. You know what I'm saying? You have Wakanda who decides to keep Storm there and help her, you know what I'm saying, come and control her powers and stuff like that. And you could somehow have them feud, you know what I'm saying? Like later on what's going on with this thing. To me, that is the best route to take, but I could be wrong.
What do you think, Stewart? Just I guess your thoughts on what Indy stated, and then also just the idea of Kevin Feige and Marvel deciding not to recast T'Challa.
Yeah, I think if they were gonna wait like 5 or 6 or 7 more years before making Black Panther 2, then I'd have no problem if they did decide to recast him. But because they still want it to come out when it's coming out, I think not recasting him is the smarter decision to do, and just, pass it down to his little sister would probably be the smart move, and have her become the new Black Panther. As for Namor, okay, so I'm going to be totally honest. I don't know enough about Namor, but I do. But he is kind of like Aquaman, right? Like King of Atlantis, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Atlantis. Sorry. Yeah, like what I'm thinking they could totally do with that kind of a storyline is, you know, maybe knowing that T'Challa is not going to be in there, you know, have it be like a really challenging storyline. Like he gets framed right before he passes away. He gets framed for something that, you know, the people of Atlantis believe he was responsible for. And the people of Wakanda don't have the full answer as to what actually happened. Therefore, you have the tension of war going on, and possibly, it's up to Shuri as the new queen of Wakanda to like try to figure out, you know, whether or not they should stand and fight, you know, and go to, you know, causing them to go to war, or if they should try to find a peaceful resolution. And then, of course, you know, it would probably turn out that there was some other villain who was pulling the strings the whole time.
You know, I do.
Anyways.
You know, I do find it interesting, man, because I was going on Twitter the other day, and I saw some people complaining about the idea of not having T'Challa around. And one of the arguments that I saw in there was just like, oh, because now we can't have T'Challa and Storm, now we can't have T'Challa and Namor. And you know, some of those things I can understand, but some of the things like the T'Challa and Namor stuff, you know, I feel like you can still do the same storyline elements with another Black Panther. Honestly, I think you could still have those same, or at least some of the same squabbles and issues. You know, I feel like the issues that they have with each other is more on a personal side of things, but also just because of both of their nations are complete opposites, you know? So I think that overall arcing storyline of Namor, it may not necessarily be T'Challa, but it could just be just whoever the Black Panther is. I think you could still utilize that. I for some of those fans that overreact, I would just say, listen, you could still be just as creative if you truly think about it, and still able to capture some of these great moments. Even though Chadwick Boseman is not with us anymore, it doesn't mean that we still can't have those Namor and Black Panther moments. You know what I mean? You just got to get creative and find a way to kind of work around it. Like for me, just going back to Avengers Endgame, when we had the brief the brief meeting where they were doing, you know, back at the Avengers Mansion when Black Widow was trying to get the scope of you know, I think what the rest of the country was looking like, and you know, she was talking to some of the people from Wakanda, and I love that Okoye, I believe, is who she was talking to, and Okoye was saying that they were finding like rumblings or tremblings like in the Atlantic Ocean, like there were earthquakes or something like that were happening. It was a really brief, just kind of thrown out line out there, but I always thought that would be a really great sort of startup point if they ever wanted to get into the idea of Wakanda and Atlantis. That maybe back at Endgame is really where things started kind of happening. So I definitely do think it's possible. So that's definitely one of the things I would love to eventually see is Namor make his appearance in a future Black Panther movie. But as far as like T'Challa goes, I'm perfectly okay with it if they decided that they wanted to go ahead and just not cast it at all, recast it, and just leave it as Chadwick Boseman's legacy. I mean, don't get me wrong, there certainly are aspects to the Black Panther character that as T'Challa, I certainly would like to have seen executed, but considering just everything that's happened with Chadwick Boseman, I'm perfectly okay with this decision. And I think you have a perfectly capable actor in Letitia Wright, or whoever else they decide to go ahead and put into that mantle to be able to take up that Black Panther position. So I'm all for it, honestly. Whatever Marvel wants to do, as long as his family and his relatives, like, they're perfectly okay with that, and they have, you know, Marvel's blessing, count me in then, man, you know?
And if Marvel really wanted to pull the trigger on this, they could just, you know, still do the Black Panther and Storm relationship with Shuri, because I don't think we've gotten a main character who's gay or lesbian yet. As far as I can remember, in the Marvel movies, we've definitely had them in the Marvel TV shows, but there's definitely been a lack of representation in that area when it comes to the Marvel films.
About that. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Nah, they could possibly do that, but I think that would cause more of an issue.
Probably. People would complain.
The thing about what I don't understand about people arguing about the T'Challa and Storm thing is that the funny thing about that is that the biggest aspect of the relationship is when they broke up. They were married and broke up during Civil War, but Civil War has already happened. Mm. You see what I'm saying? So where's the payoff, you know what I'm saying, from that? Because T'Challa sided with, you know what I'm saying, Iron Man and the registration, and Storm was siding with Captain America, and they had that whole thing where it tore them apart. So I didn't even think that was even a point. You know what I'm saying? I had to deal with after them. But exactly what Adam said, the dynamic of the king or queen of Wakanda who holds the Black Panther title being at odds with Namor, who wants something because Wakanda has it. You know what I'm saying? That would make sense no matter who the Black Panther is.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a T'Challa versus Namor thing. It's more of a Wakanda versus Atlantis thing, if you ask me. It's how I've always seen it.
They could even do something if they wanted to and be slick with it, and before Storm's powers manifest, have her become the Black Panther. Just have her come, you know what I'm saying, from a different nation.
Yo, I kind of dig that. That'd be sick. I can't even lie. I wouldn't even lie. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, we definitely want to know your levels of excitement. Ryan Coogler is coming back for Black Panther 2, so that definitely is a win in their column for sure. But they have been very hush-hush in regards to what the storyline is going to be for Black Panther 2. But as we get details and details surface, we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But let us know your thoughts. Do you like the decision by Marvel to go ahead and honor Chadwick Boseman by not recasting T'Challa, or do you think it certainly would have been okay to go ahead and do so? Definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. Two titles that I really want to just go ahead and highlight real quick that I found interesting when they went ahead and broke down all of this information from the Disney Investor Day in regards to Guardians of the Galaxy. First and foremost, I Am Groot is certainly coming our way. I can't recall what Kevin Feige mentioned about this. I'm assuming, if anything, this is maybe like animated shorts or something like that. Am I wrong? Did you guys pick up on any of that?
I hear I Am Groot and the fact that he can't say nothing but his name. I hear I Am Groot
and he's got a show.
Yeah, and the only thing that popped in my head was Coco Melon. That's the only thing that popped in my head. Like, that is something specifically made for that target audience.
I think it would be like a cute like mini series, I guess, like a series of shorts. I don't see it working as a movie, and I don't see it working as like a full-on television series. And I definitely don't see it working like live action if it's just like a Groot standalone show.
It's definitely. I just looked it up on Marvel.com. I Am Groot is a series of shorts.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I see that working really well.
Yeah, I think that will work pretty well too. Considering the fact that he can't really talk and say much. Maybe like 5-10 minutes.
I mean, look, we grew up on Tom and Jerry.
I guess that's true too. Yeah, that's absolutely true. He could say nothing the whole episode and just be on an adventure, and people would eat it up, especially if it's like young Groot, like baby Groot, maybe young adolescent Groot with an attitude. Yeah, give it to me.
What does Grogu say? Morning. All Grogu says.
Coming next fall, Grogu the series. I'll take it. On top of that, Guardians of the Galaxy did get even more recognition this week as we wind up getting a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. In all my life, outside of a Star Wars holiday special, I never thought we would see another one, but Disney is not giving up. They want to go ahead and they make a successful holiday special, and they're working on it. And just so you guys are aware, it probably will not be as terrible. At least I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because James Gunn is in fact returning to write and direct the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So James Gunn will be helming this. If anything, I'm certainly expecting the entire cast of Guardians to be here, and just them being just off the wall, as we can certainly expect when it comes to their comedy. So Dino Knight says, so many spinoffs. You're not even kidding. You're not even kidding, man. And I wouldn't even say that these are necessarily spinoffs. Maybe they're spin-ins. Is that a thing? A series that spin into movies?
You know what? It is now. Let's
not the spin-off, but the spin-in series. I like it. Yeah, we gotta coin that. Put that on a t-shirt.
I don't know. Is the holiday special live action or animated?
I'm under an impression it's live action. Yeah, I think it's live action.
I think Disney went, we need a holiday special. They looked around, was like, we cannot do Star Wars again. And they went, who can we use that we in trouble? And they looked dead at Guardians of the Galaxy, said, no matter how bad this is, people won't care. They'll love it.
No, because they just know how goofy this damn team is. It's almost like it's part of the plan, right? If it's a train wreck, it was probably meant to be a train wreck, just because of who they all have going in there. Dino Knight says Star Wars Holiday Special was absurd. Chewbacca, he spelled. I was like, who's he spelling? Chewbacca watching a virtual porn video. Yeah, I prefer to try and avoid that if at all costs. But I'm not expecting it to be that bad.
And yet Disney still wants us to remember that was the thing, because they recently had the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, which wasn't bad. It was cute, and I think kids will definitely really like it. But yeah, now they're not only referencing it within their own Star Wars franchise, now they're doing it with Marvel as well. That is hilarious to me, and I am very curious. What I think will happen is Chris Pratt tries to introduce the concept of Christmas to the rest of the Guardians.
Yo, that would be the best. I remember when I used to live on Earth, we used to have this holiday called Christmas, and then just start introducing. I would have a blast with Chris Pratt trying to explain Christmas to aliens.
What's Batista's character, Drax the Destroyer? Drax trying to stay up to be invisible to catch Santa Claus.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Give it to me, man. Give it to me, yo. I get baby Groot eating Santa's cookies. Who knows? Probably trying to do some Home Alone booby traps to capture Santa himself. Who knows?
Again, then you have it's all playing out. It's all playing out.
James Gunn, take notes. Take notes, James Gunn.
Rocket's the one who disagrees with everything but secretly loves Christmas. Like
he's the one that's got like the
movie with Guardians of the Galaxy characters.
He's got the longest Christmas list out of all of them, like secretly. Yo.
Yeah.
I love it. This could be special, guys. This really could be special. Leave it up to James Gunn though, because he will knock this out of the park. But yeah, I wanted to highlight
on Santa's naughty list and have to figure out how to not be on his naughty
list. And then hold on. If HBO Max is smart to counter this, Spaceballs. Special.
Oh my God. No, they would get sued by HBO, man. I mean, by Disney. They'd be like, no, that's our property. I think that Spaceballs belongs to them. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. Now I think about it. But yeah, I would love it. Like, what if Rocket is like trying to figure out which is the less naughty of his weapons, right? Like, which one does Santa approve of? Like, should I get rid of this bazooka? What's my better chance to get on Santa's good list? Like, which weapon should I get rid of? Yeah, I'll
stop stealing, and then like they're somewhere, and then like Groot tells him Santa's watching him, and Rocket has to go put the little ball or something back that he stole.
I would love it.
Oh man.
But guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to all the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff that we're getting. Again, Disney, look, it's funny to me, Stewart and Indy, when all this pandemic time, Warner Brothers hitting us with news, reveals, photos, titles. I mean, giving us a ton of stuff. And the one thing we kept saying is like, Marvel, where are you? Where are you, Marvel? And towards the end of the year, Marvel said, you thought we were slacking, huh? You thought we were slacking. And they're like, here you go. Here's all the stuff that we're slowly working on behind the scenes to go ahead and have you give us all your money by subscribing to Disney Plus as soon as possible. So if you guys don't have Disney Plus, please go ahead and do yourselves a favor and subscribe now before it's. I'm sure that they'll probably go ahead and hike the price up here within the next year or so. But we'll see what winds up happening.
So this kind of surprised me. Spaceballs is a parody of Star Wars, directed by Mel Brooks back in, I think, what did that movie come out, like 87, right? Or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Very funny movie, and I highly recommend it. It is one of my go-to movies. If I'm ever like in a really bad mood, or if I'm ever depressed, that is one of my movies that perks me up, and just days like that, I like it more than Star Wars. I'm not even gonna lie.
It seems as though your Swartz is as big as mine.
Man,
I love the what do they do?
Rick Moranis was perfect in that.
Yeah, Rick Moranis was perfect in there, man. I miss
Rick. This thing.
Rick Moranis was perfect. I do miss him. I can't wait for him to come back to the movies. Honestly, I love the idea of the stormtroopers combing the beach, and they're literally combing the beach with gigantic comb. What'd you guys find? We ain't find shit.
Or the alien little
the Yoda
little punch of aliens when they're in the little diner.
Not again. See, now we're spoiling all the jokes.
Yeah. If you get a chance, Ralph, if you're looking for a good just spoof of Star Wars, definitely check out Spaceballs whenever you get a chance. I feel like it still holds up to this day, honestly. But we got 4 more titles, guys. We're going to go ahead and break down 4, maybe 5.5. Another film that we currently know is in production, or will be. Thor Love and Thunder is coming our way, ladies and gentlemen. Thor Love and Thunder is on its way. And while we didn't have too many huge announcements in regards to it, we did get ourselves a reveal as to the villain of Thor Love and Thunder, Mr. Christian Bale himself, who many people have been trying to speculate forever as to who this man certainly was going to be. But we finally have confirmation here from Kevin Feige himself that it looks as though he is in fact going to be playing Gore the Butcher. Gore the God Butcher, mind you, if I'm not mistaken. So I am super excited for this. I was honestly thinking he was probably going to be playing. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can actually. Excuse me, guys. Let me see. Christian Bale. Or Gore the God Butcher. I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and pull up a photo of him for those of you who are not too familiar with Gore the God Butcher. But this was not what I was expecting. A part of me was kind of hoping that he was going to be the president or like the head of Roxxon. Oh, you found one?
No, I just know where there's one at. I actually have one on the.
Oh, here I just pulled it up here. Let me go ahead and get this updated. I honestly thought he was going to be the head of Roxxon Corporation because I feel like Roxxon's been getting a little bit more focus as of late. And so for me, I was thinking he was going to be the head of Roxxon, which had the ability to actually turn into a Minotaur. And so for me, the idea of Thor or Mighty Thor having to face off against the Roxxon head as a Minotaur, I thought was great. But the fact that they're getting Gore the God Butcher in here, which, if you ask me, has probably easily pushed Thor to some of his utmost limits. I cannot wait to see somebody as talented and as gifted as Christian Bale to go ahead and control this role, because I think he's just going to bring terror and just really own the screen anytime that he's on screen. So count me in for Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher. But what do you think, Indy?
I think this is the smartest pull that Marvel could ever do, because what does Marvel need more than anything when it comes to characters? I think right now their need to hold on to Spider-Man is bigger than when everybody thinks. So they need to make sure that they keep setting precedents that make Sony want to work with them. So this is the biggest thing to Gore that ties into that, is the fact that let me say this. He is a character who hates the gods because he grew up on a nameless planet, and after his mate, his kids, and his mother died, he thought gods didn't exist. Then when he found out that they existed, you know what I'm saying, he vowed to destroy all gods because they didn't step in to stop anything. The weapon that he has, that necro blade that he carries around to kill gods with, came from Null. For those who don't know who Null is the being that birthed the symbiote. So that ties, Venom? Yes, that ties right into Spider-Man.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Nice. I like that. I didn't even know that. I didn't even realize that connection, honestly, but I do love that, honestly. Let me throw this over to you, Stewart. You hear the news that we've got Christian Bale playing Gore the God Butcher. What are your thoughts? This is honestly a character I was not expecting. I don't recall him being that influential in the Mighty Thor comic book series, at least, or that particular run. I do recall in the Thor series, him and our current Thor facing off, but I don't really recall the Mighty Thor aspect of things. So this feels like Marvel certainly taking some liberties to add different concepts and different characters to the overarching story for Mighty Thor. Maybe this is, who knows, but I don't even know if this is going to be a villain that Mighty Thor and Thor have to face off against together, or if this is just going to be if Thor's villain and the mighty Thor will have her own. I have really no idea. So let me throw this to you, Stewart. What are your thoughts in regards to hearing this announcement, and what do you think of how Christian Bale will play into this movie?
Oh, I know Christian Bale is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I did not expect him to be like announced to be as like the main villain of this film, but I think the fact that it's going to be both Mighty Thor and regular Thor together, I think it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be such a powerful villain that they need the two of them together in order to take them down. There needs to be two different versions of Thor working side by side. That's what I'm hoping for anyways.
I could definitely dig that, because I know to defeat Gore, it took Gore's son giving Thor the ability and Thor having two hammers to end up to strike him down. And it's just crazy because there's another tie-in now that I think about it, because I remember Galactus saying how that sword was made, and that Null made that sword from the head of a dead Celestial.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I believe that's what I recall reading too in that storyline.
Yeah, so
you guys might be right. They might need two. They might need two Thors to go ahead and take this guy down. Maybe even a Valkyrie along with it too. So we'll see, man.
A Valkyrie and a lady and a returning Lady Sif.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yes, and a returning Lady Sif. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, Jamie Alexander is set to go ahead and reprise her role. Let me see if I can actually pull this up here real quick. If it lets me. Yeah, this actually was from Deadline.com. Lady Sif set to go ahead and actually return in Thor: Love and Thunder. Let's see here. Exclusive. After missing out on Thor Ragnarok, Jamie Alexander is set to make a return to Asgard. Sources tell Deadline that Alexander will return to the next installment of the Thor series, Love and Thunder, although Marvel had no comment. Sources also add this may not be the only property Sif appears, as insiders believe Alexander could have a guest spot on Disney Plus's Loki, which is something that we brought up very early on. And I would be completely okay with this. I truly would. I enjoyed Jamie Alexander as Lady Sif. I remember when she even made a cameo or two over in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was hoping that they would give her a bigger role in the MCU. But who knows where this is going to land her, whether this is going to land her into the arms of Valkyrie, who's in search of a queen, if you will, of New Asgard. Maybe Lady Sif is right up her alley, or maybe they wind up rekindling some sort of relationship with Thor himself. I always felt like, at least in Dark World, there were hints that maybe Lady Sif, was feeling Chris Hemsworth a little bit as Thor, and nothing ever came to that because Thor was just so focused on Jane. So who knows? Maybe we have another weird sort of love triangle. I hope that's not the case though, but we'll see what happens. But I'm glad that Lady Sif is at least returning. Jamie Alexander deserved more screen time, honestly.
Yeah, I fully agree. I thought it was weird only because it's like we had her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a television show on ABC nonetheless, and yet they couldn't get her back in Thor Ragnarok, maybe it's for a brief appearance. So maybe
it's because she was on Agents. They were like, "Oh, we forgot about you."
No, and the thing was, they used her in Agents as a big plot device on why none of the Avengers was going to know why Coulson was alive. Like they used her to tie up a loose plot thread, and then because that season did still tie into big things that happened in the Marvel Universe. Once after that, they went, you know what, we don't care anymore, because it was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was coming out quicker than what the movies were coming out, so they had to figure out a way to separate the two from giving stuff away. And then it came to the point, remember, where Agents used to take off like 4 months just so a movie could come out, just so they wouldn't give away what was happening at the end of the movie. Their time's down, and if it was more of now like it was in the streaming era, they wouldn't have had that issue.
Oh man, I really hope not. Wonder if Christian Bale as the God Butcher, every time he speaks, we hear the Batman voice. I hope not. I think Christian Bale's regular voice is intimidating enough. He doesn't have to sound like he's gargling marbles.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. So yeah, while we didn't get a ton of Thor, Love and Thunder news, we definitely at least have a better understanding as to who Christian Bale is going to be playing. God, Gore, the God Butcher himself. Yeah, Thor and Mighty Thor are certainly in for a pretty difficult time in the upcoming film, and I cannot wait to see how they get out of this one.
I mean, they had to give us something back. They put Natalie Portman in the movie.
I know you're not the biggest fan of seeing her return, so it's like I definitely know that. All right, guys. And outside of the movies that we already know are filming, here are a couple other movies and series that are in the works that also was recently announced. One of the ones that I definitely want to highlight first, Ant-Man 3 officially has a title, ladies and gentlemen. Quantumania. I feel like it's almost as goofy as Into the Multiverse of Madness, or the all that good stuff. But Quantumania, what are you guys expecting to see from this?
I'm expecting them to put another M in that because
Is it just looking like Quantum Ania?
yeah, that's what it looks like. I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea. After the last movie, I expect this to be better.
Yeah, me too. I'm just not you guys know me though. I wasn't the biggest fan of Ant-Man and the Wasp. But I will say this, to their defense, they have come out and at least mentioned that they plan on they plan on having this movie in a much bigger scope. They definitely have plans on doing bigger things with it. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and see if it's as much of an international adventure as I'm thinking that it is. Even if it's not an international adventure, like maybe it's them going into different worlds, different realms. Maybe it's just an adventure that takes them all across the world. I honestly have no idea. But outside of that, maybe it's them traveling through time. I mean, we do know that I think they also confirmed that we were going to be getting Kang in here also, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe that they confirmed that.
I didn't realize they confirmed that, but that gets me really excited.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, to me, they ruined Ghost. Ghost was an excellent, you know what I'm saying, anti-hero that they could have built up, especially with the actress coming over from an amazing sci-fi, television show that people were mad that ended. They got her, they misused her. She had incredible backstory that they could have used.
Oh, from Ghost?
Yeah, they had several other characters in there who had amazing backstories that they could have used, and they didn't even use Ant-Man the proper way. That seemed like a complete joke, especially leading up to what Infinity War and Endgame, like what all that was supposed to be. And I'm just not for it. I'm not cool with seeing what Cassie is going to do. I do feel like too many kids, when it comes to these heroes, are getting the mantle at the same time or getting stuff passed down to them. It's too much at once. And the only thing that could probably save this is Kang. And I would love for Kang to just his whole scene is him sitting back watching his little screen, watching Ant-Man do dumb stuff and just going this person as an idiot.
Yeah, just planning things out as he's watching this guy. But yeah, so he was confirmed. Jonathan Majors was confirmed at the this is a screenshot here to be Kang the Conqueror. So he was in fact confirmed for this. The rest of the cast that was confirmed, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, and Michelle Pfeiffer coming back all to certainly reprise their role. And we are also getting Catherine Newton, who's going to be playing an older Cassie Lang, who will eventually go on to become Stature in the comic books. I will say this, is Catherine Newton the same girl that played Cassie in Endgame?
That's what Google's for.
Yeah, that's what I'm Googling right now. It looks like maybe they almost look a little bit different. Yeah, I think they recast her actually. Yeah, because a couple of news articles are saying why Ant-Man recast Endgame's Cassie Lang. So yeah, we do have ourselves a brand new Cassie Lang.
Emma Foraman was Avengers Endgame, and then Abby Ryder was the first Ant-Man.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it looks like they went ahead and recast her. I'm wondering if they have why does she look super familiar to me? Catherine Newton. Let's see what else I might have seen her in. I'm going to pull up her IMBD. I think because of the fact that they're definitely trying to bring in stature, this definitely feels like we're going to be getting ourselves a Young Avengers at some particular point in time. Maybe that's what they're building up to next. Maybe it's not even an Avengers film. Maybe it is a Young Avengers, and maybe
Big Little
Kang will wind
Lies.
up being
Uh,
their villain.
Big Little Lies, Detective Pikachu, Blockers. I mean, she's definitely
I think that's why I recognize her from is Big Little Lies, honestly,
I think
because she looks more familiar.
Detective Pikachu.
yeah, Lucy Stevens, Julian Blockers. She doesn't have a huge uh like
She was in a few
catalog.
episodes of Supernatural too.
Yeah, but she's got a couple of Critics' Choice Awards though too. Also,
She also played Alex in Paranormal Activity 4, for those of you who saw that movie.
that,
Alex in
that,
Paranormal Activity 4.
that was more than two.
Yes, they probably went on to do like 6 of them, bro. They probably went on to do like 6 of them. But yes, Quantumania will in fact be the official title of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Kang the Conqueror has been confirmed, along with a brand new Cassie Lang, played by Catherine Newton. So big things are happening. Again, I'm going to be going into this movie with trepidation because I wasn't the biggest fan of the second one, but the way that I've been hearing they plan on opening up the scope of this film does get me excited. So I am looking forward to that. I also want to make a transition here, guys, to start talking a little bit about the legacy that is being left behind by Iron Man himself. We've got a couple of titles here that really kind of blew me away that I had no idea was even in development, but I can tell you I am here for it, guys. I truly am. The the next topic, or the next spin-off series or new series that's being introduced to us, Armor Wars, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Armor Wars is actually inspired from a comic book storyline. I can't remember if it was back in the late 80s, early 90s, or whatever the case may be. But I had no idea that they had plans on even tackling this concept. But the fact that they're going to be getting Don Cheadle to play Rhodey in here and give Rhodey pretty much his own series, I think is amazing, to be honest with you. I love the fact that they are continuing to, I know some people will probably say, oh, Hawkeye doesn't really need a series. War Machine probably doesn't even really need a series. But I really do think it just depends on how you utilize them, right? I mean, if you were to tell me, hey, we're going to get a War Machine series, I probably would just be like, meh, okay. But you tell me you have found a way to integrate War Machine into a huge storyline that has taken place over Iron Man's history and allowing him to kind of get that spotlight to shine. Count me in, man. Count me in. I believe they talked about, Kevin Feige mentions that this series is really going to be based upon the idea of what happens when Tony Stark's enemies wind up really getting a hang or a handle, or getting their hands, I should say, on his technology. I mean, I feel like we've seen this already before with Mysterio and the Vulture, or whatever the case may be, from Spider-Man movies. But it definitely seems as though there are more people out there that have a bone to pick with Tony Stark, and they're going to be getting their hands on some armor. So who knows what type of armors we wind up seeing in here. But Don Cheadle's in for a fight. And I'm so glad that he's getting himself an opportunity to shine as a lead in his own series, if you will. I'm pretty sure he'll probably have a stellar supporting cast, but they're really making do on giving almost all the Avengers their own sort of spin-off series to help develop other storylines, maybe develop other characters, and then bring them into the overall movie. So I think this is a brilliant move by Marvel to go ahead and give Don Cheadle his own series here. So let me throw this over to you, Indy. You hear about the idea and the concepts of them going back to this Armor Wars storyline from the comics and turning it into a series. What are your thoughts about this, and how excited are you for Don Cheadle to get his own series?
I'm interested in with this series. If this series is going to go, I'm very happy for Don Cheadle to start off with, because
Yeah.
Rhodey has been a very underutilized character, and after the thing that happened with his legs and everything he had to go through, this is going to be pretty interesting seeing him have to step up after losing Tony and everything that went on with Endgame, and seeing him go forward. I believe that Armor Wars was 7 parts. So it makes me wonder if, like, the Disney show was actually going to be 7 parts going You know what I'm saying? With each episode taking apart from that. I'm curious also to see if it will have anything to do with Iron Man 2, because to be honest with you, Iron Man 2 took the plot device was Armor Wars. With the whole Whiplash thing, and Justin Hammer, all that was part of it from that. So I wonder if that's going to do with it. But they got some work to do, because the best interpretation of Armor Wars that I seen was, I believe, from what was that? The Iron Man Armored Adventures. I forget what they aired on, but they did it like 10 episodes in the first, in the second or third season. They did the whole Armor Wars thing, and it was actually very well done. So I'm very curious to see what this is going to look like in live action, what type of suits that they're going to use, and how they write it for Don Cheadle to take the place of Tony Stark when it comes to what's going on. I trust them, honestly. The people they have at Marvel and Disney to do anything right. So I'm just curious into. With it being Don Cheadle, I want it to be done more than right. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be something epic, because that's that man deserves. And if he's not going to get a Captain Planet movie, this man deserves to be able to have this Armor Wars be the best thing on Disney Plus. So I'm curious to see how they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, do that.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's such an amazing talent, man. He definitely did deserve this series of his own. It was definitely an unexpected one, but you tell me Don Cheadle in an Armor Wars storyline. Yeah, man, I think that's a great opportunity for him to truly shine. But what do you think, Stewart? Were you expecting an Armor Wars at all, or was this one of the series that kind of came out of left field, but you're pretty interested in?
I wasn't expecting Armor Wars specifically, but I knew that they had to give War Machine his own TV show at some point. I figured if they're doing it with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's only a matter of time before they do it with Tony Stark's partner as well. So yeah, I'm totally psyched for it, and I'm really intrigued by because most of the time we don't really get to focus a lot on his like military background throughout any of the Marvel movies, except for Iron Man 1 and 2. That's like kind of the only time where that's a focus. So I'd be very intrigued to see if that becomes a focus again in his own spinoff series.
That's a good point. Yeah, bringing in some of the military aspect of things, and it kind of jumping off of what Indy was saying about. I really would like to see this be a I don't want to say necessarily continuation of Tony Stark's sort of legacy, but definitely have some levels of remembrance of Tony Stark and what he's done for the MCU in this series. I think would probably go a long way. I mean, are you guys kind of tired of the idea of like bad guys getting a hold of Tony's tech and using it for terrible things? I mean, I feel like we've seen that idea utilized a lot when it comes to the MCU, or do you think that they can have a fresh take on it?
Go ahead, because I got a lot to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, mine's pretty short. I have no issue with it at all, only because that's kind of reality. When you invent something, whether or not your intentions are good or bad, when you invent something that can be used for bad, someone is going to find a way to use it for bad, and that's just how the world works. It sucks, but that's just how it is. So I think that's how it is with Tony Stark, is that he invents all these, incredible like gadgets and weapons, and in the right hands, they can do a lot of good, but there are a lot of bad people that want to get their hands on that kind of tech.
That's a good point for sure.
Definitely.
What are you thinking, Indy?
I want to see if it's going to tie into the Justin Hammer thing, if we're going to get the Hammer drones and everything like that. Because if it comes back to that, it's not a rehash. It's somebody who's not going to stop, especially with the death of Tony Stark. They want to make sure that their company is number one, you know what I'm saying, with everything that's going to come into. The one thing I want to know is how pissed off is Terrence Howard right now?
Does he have a job right now? Is he working?
No. How pissed off is Terrence Howard? If he wouldn't have asked for more money and just stuck through, this could be Terrence Howard right now.
Man, that's crazy to even fathom. That's crazy how careers change over 10 years, 10, 11 years. That's crazy to me. Ralph says Disney Plus going to get expensive with all these new titles. Oh, trust me, they definitely will be bumping up the price at some point in time. So
they already announced that they're bumping up the price.
Oh yeah, so see, they're already prepping you. They're already getting you ready.
$1. It's
Oh,
going
really?
$1. Yeah, $7.99.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, considering of just how much profit they're probably going to be making from Disney Plus alone, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that one bump up for $1 bump up for 80 million plus subscribers. Yeah, here's an extra $80 million for you, man. Yeah, it's like, damn, guys.
And this is an interesting question. Who had a better or biggest death, Oliver Queen or Tony Stank?
Tony.
I think Tony's death to me and to audiences were a lot more impactful. But if we're going with a technicality, I guess Oliver's death, because his death literally restarted an entire multiverse. But yeah, no, Tony's death was to me like a lot more impactful overall.
I'm gonna say Oliver Queen, and that's not because I'm a Stephen Amell fan. I'm gonna say it just for the sheer fact that when Arrow ended,
the rest of the Arrowverse ending.
The MCU lives on without Tony Stark. The end of the Arrowverse is in sight.
Yeah. Good point, man. I can't even argue with that. Yeah. I guess Stephen Amell left and Melissa Benoist's like, you know what? I think I'm good.
Yeah,
Cress Williams, he's like, you know what? Jefferson Pierce, I think I'm good.
Yeah, if Sarah leaves, it's over.
I hope not.
Let's not even that.
My future wife is the best thing about the Arrowverse now.
Nice. But continuing along with the Iron Man legacy, ladies and gentlemen, we do have ourselves 2 more titles that we're going to be breaking down and talking for you guys today. And continuing along with that legacy of Tony Stark comes to us an Ironheart series. Miss Riri Williams herself is actually getting an Ironheart series. I don't want to say this comes as a surprise because I felt like we've heard rumors about this for a long time ago, but there really was never sort of any movement happening. I think there was also a lot of fan theories and speculation of a Riri Williams. I know we were also thinking, hey, maybe at one point in time I heard people talking about maybe Shuri from Wakanda, maybe because of the fact that she's so smart and so genius and has great technology. Maybe she would make herself an Ironheart costume or suit and she would be the next Ironheart. I mean, the theories were all over the place, but Marvel certainly had plans for Ironheart, regardless if it was Letitia Wright or our brand new newcomer in here with Dominique Thorne, who will in fact be playing Ironheart herself. So this is in fact Dominique Thorne. They went ahead and announced it over on the live feed as well. But yeah, it says Dominique Thorne is joining the MCU as Ironheart in a new series headed to Disney Plus. It says the If Beale Street Could Talk actor will play Riri Williams, a genius young girl who becomes the successor to Iron Man following Tony Stark's death. It does say that Brian Michael Bendis, another great writer, and Mike Deodato created Ironheart in 2015. It says in the Marvel comic books universe, Riri Williams is a teen engineering genius. Following her father's death, she lives with her mother and her aunt in Chicago. At 15 years old, she gets into MIT. While attending, she builds her own Iron Man style armor. And then after using the armor to stop 2 escaped prisoner inmates, Tony Stark reaches out to her and gives her his blessing to become a new armored hero. So some really fascinating stuff here. I mean, we just said this recently that it almost feels like they're in the process of maybe building up a Young Avengers team. And I feel like we are getting a ton of teenage superheroes here. Miss Marvel, Ironheart, Cassie Lang recast to eventually hopefully become Stature. We're getting ourselves a Kate Bishop also. I think Haley Steinfeld's a little bit older than the rest of this crew. But I feel like maybe they're onto something here. Maybe they're really trying to put something together. We'll see what happens if Young Avengers winds up getting developed. But Marvel is certainly doing their part in continuing to add diversity and really switching it up. And now we have ourselves an Ironheart here, trying to really appeal to people of all ages, all colors, all sexes. And I'm really loving the sound of Ironheart. This makes me wonder if this is in some way, since we don't necessarily have, say, a Tony Stark to pass down these blessings, I'm wondering if Ironheart winds up being something that's spun out or rolled out of Armor Wars, right? Like maybe we get Rhodey, who's the person that winds up kind of giving her blessing, seeing what she's capable of doing, and knowing Tony Stark personally, knowing that he probably would be okay with her having a new suit of armor or taking on and carrying on that legacy. I would love if we wind up having, because again, they've said the Marvel characters will be helping usher in these new shows into the MCU. Maybe we wind up getting ourselves another Don Cheadle appearance, and maybe he has some sort of role to play here in Ironheart, whether that be big or small. I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing this series. I was, a part of me was always hoping that we would get sort of another armored Avenger in here, sort of along the lines of a Tony Stark, even though we do have War Machine. I do feel like Iron Man probably would be missed at some point in time. So give us another Iron Man style character. I'm all here for. But you guys hear this, the idea of an Ironheart series, Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams going to be playing the role. Let me throw this over to you first, Stewart. Now that you hear this information, what's your thoughts in regards to it, man?
You know what I think they might be doing now that I think about it, with all the young Avengers? I feel as though they want to have two Avenger series going on kind of side by side. One for the theaters, which will have all of our older characters that are still part of the MCU, and then one that'll just be a movie franchise that goes straight to Disney Plus, because now straight to Disney movie essentially means, like, you know, the same thing that you'd get in theaters, but it just goes straight to the streaming platform. I think it'd be kind of an interesting way, because then you can get like some of the older people that still love going to you know, the cinemas no matter what. Like, you know, I feel like all of us are always going to be watching these movies on the theater, on the big screen, whenever it comes out. And I think the people at Marvel know that, but I think they also know that a lot of like very, very young viewers, and I mean, like, you know, kind of the viewers like 10 and younger, just aren't, at least from what I've seen. I could be wrong. I got a little brother who just can't sit still through an entire movie in the theater. So I gotta imagine he's probably not the only one in this day and age of the internet. So I'm like wondering if that's like what they're trying to go for with the new Young Avengers like movie franchise. Essentially, those might be like straight to Disney Plus movies, and the regular Avengers will be, you know, going to theaters, and you can have them kind of side by side. And I'm wondering, you know, that's why they're kind of setting up younger versions of all of these different Avengers that we've already gotten.
So you're saying we're going to be getting a Defenders-like thing from Netflix, but for Disney Plus. This is Kevin Feige saying, you know what? They had all the cool stuff on Netflix. We don't want them to have all that cool stuff. Let's try and start that back up on Disney Plus and wind up having ourselves our own little team up movie on Disney Plus. That would be pretty fantastic of the Young Avengers. I think that would be a really great way if you don't want to utilize that money for a big budget film, especially with the way the pandemic has kind of, you know, changed the movie industry. Maybe that is something that you hold off for a nice little team up movie for Disney Plus at some point. I would dig that. What do you think about that idea, Indy? And then just your thoughts in regards to Ironheart.
I definitely like that idea, and if they're smart about it, they do that and to see that movie extra $50.
Wait, said it one more time, Indy. I think you broke up a little bit.
Oh, I said I definitely like that, and to see that movie is like an extra $9.99 charge.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
For when that comes out, that'd be the move, because that's definitely something that people would pay to see. You know, it'd be something separate with the culmination, and then it acts like a 2 hour, maybe 2.5 hour, you know what I'm saying, movie, and you just pay $10 to have it, to view it forever. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see nobody having anything going against anything with that. You know, all this stuff we gave you free led up to this $10 purchase you're gonna make. But the thing about Riri Williams, I totally understand their point for not using Shuri. I do think if Chadwick didn't pass away, that Shuri would have been used for Ironheart. But knowing that she needs to stay like in that world and be like the anchor, because she will be the anchor character, because she was the third most popular character after Killmonger, you know what I'm saying, in that movie. I don't think they were going to be able to take her out of that world and have that world of Wakanda survive. So they have to leave her there. So that falls them back into, which isn't a bad thing, using Riri Williams, who is influenced through the legacy of Tony Stark to build this, to become this other hero. You know what I'm saying? Lends itself to, you have Peter, you have Happy doing, you know what I'm saying, what he's doing in the background. You have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who are honestly inspired by the sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, that Iron Man had. And then you have Riri, you know what I'm saying, doing it. And you're honestly seeing this sacrifice that Tony Stark made birth the new heroes, you know what I'm saying, are coming. So him becoming that shield around the earth that he wanted to do is actually coming to the forefront, with all these heroes stepping up because of the sacrifice he made.
Man, I love the way that you put that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The idea of him still being able to get his arm around the world, even though he's not here. There is something very poetic about that. And I think a great continuation for Tony Stark's legacy, because they definitely have established that in the MCU, especially how missed Tony is. Just murals for Iron Man all across the world and stuff. Yeah, I would honestly love to see them tackle that a little bit more. But we'll see, man. Ironheart's looking good. I mean, again, we haven't seen anything. We've just been seeing some casting. And just kind of maybe speculating in regards to it a little bit, but they've done definitely a ton of potential in a lot of these series that we've been breaking down for you guys. But listen, we want to know your thoughts in regards to Ironheart. Do you like the casting choice? Do you like the idea of Ironheart getting a series for herself? And how would you like to see that character utilized? Go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And last but not least, guys, our last title from Marvel's Investor Day. So thank you very much, everybody that stuck around with us for 2.5+ hours as we continue along with this discussion here. But I mean, we told you we were going to get down and dirty and nerdy, so we warned you beforehand. But the last title that was in fact released, I shouldn't say it's as it comes as a surprise, because we knew that this movie was coming. I just had no idea that they were going to announce this already. Fantastic Four is on its way to Marvel Studios, ladies and gentlemen. The movie is in fact happening, and I could not be happier. This is going to be their third take on the movie, from the Tim Story stuff over from Fox to the Josh Trank over at Fox to now seeing what Kevin Feige can certainly do with Fantastic Four. But make no mistake, Kevin Feige is not the only person tackling this movie alone, ladies and gentlemen. No, we do have ourselves a director on board, and his name is Jon Watts, ladies and gentlemen. Jon Watts. If that name sounds familiar, it certainly should, because Jon Watts was in fact the director over at Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home as well. So Jon Watts has been tapped. Clearly, Marvel is super happy with what he's been able to do with their Spider-Man franchise so far. And I'm assuming after Spider-Man 3 wraps up, they've got this guy probably already working on a little bit on Fantastic Four. But it's coming, guys. The first family of Marvel is certainly about to be here. So let me go ahead and throw this over to Indy first. And then I'll give my thoughts later. But you hear the idea of a Fantastic Four movie coming. We don't really have details besides the fact of who the director is in Jon Watts. What do you think of the pick? And do you trust Kevin Feige to get Fantastic Four right this time?
I honestly feel like you're not giving enough credit to Jon Watts' name. You should really be saying it like Jim Ross or one of them announced Stone Cold. It's like, oh my God, it's Jon Watts. That's what you should be doing. Because from the track record that we know that he's done in Marvel, I don't know if you guys would agree, but as far as character movies, he's probably directed two of the best. When it comes to Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, because two things I like about those movies is that they feel like they're where Marvel is going, and that it's on it and it's juggling characters. Those movies juggle a lot of characters. Mm-hmm. We might look back at Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avenger movies, stuff like that. Yeah, they juggle a lot of characters, but it really focused on a core. Like these were juggling high school kids that didn't know what was going on. It was juggling having Tony Stark come in, try to, you know what I'm saying, mentor somebody. It was juggling different villains. Like, they were doing a lot. I really feel like he has an eye for what these particular movies are supposed to look like, and I'm very happy about it. Now, there's another John that needs to be attached to this movie.
Who do you have? Who do you have in mind? John who?
Think about it.
John.
Think about it.
John
Krasinski. Yeah, I was like, I can never pronounce the guy's last name. I was like, I know. I think I have an idea.
Because we fan casted this movie a long time ago. Like when when we first heard they were getting the rights back, we fan cast this movie. And I think we did it damn well. I don't care who none of the other three characters are that's casted. I don't care who's Doctor Doom. There's only one Mr. Fantastic for me in this movie, and I'll be perfectly happy. And like I said, I think it's coming at a time because dealing with Kang, having Galactus on, you know what I'm saying, film, and I think they want us to see Doom early enough to forget about him. And then when we forget about him is when he'll come back and be the end all, you know what I'm saying, do all to, you know what I'm saying, the Marvel Universe. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm glad they announced it, but we were wrong because we can go back and watch the video because we both did think that mutants would show up before the Fantastic Four.
Mutants? Yeah, I think we were. No, I think we said Fantastic Four before mutants. Didn't we say that? No.
No, I think we thought they'd be hinted to because of Eternals before we saw. Four because of the whole.
That's what it was. Yeah. Are we gonna see Fantastic Four or at least hinted at mutants? That's right. Okay, you're right.
I mean, I still stick with. I think we're gonna get a name drop for mutants before Fantastic Four comes out, but I still think that Fantastic Four is coming way before X-Men. Obviously,
Definitely.
now we got confirmation that that's the case.
I don't know if you'll ever see an X-Men movie. I think I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I think we'll see separate starring mutants, and then I honestly think the mutants that we see will just become Avengers.
Oh God, I hope not. Please don't do that.
I still want MCU X-Men, so I hope not.
What are your thoughts, Stewart, in regards to Fantastic Four, though?
If I'm being honest, I really love the director that they got for it. I think he's going to do a great job, especially working with Kevin Feige. But I was really hoping for Matthew Vaughn. I think that's how his name's pronounced. Matthew Vaughn. Because he had expressed interest in doing this movie, and he's shown in the past that he's really confident when it comes to making superhero films. So, as far as I can see, he's only directed one movie that I wasn't the biggest fan of. But when it came to the first Kingsman movie, Kick-Ass, and then X-Men First Class, this guy definitely knows exactly how to have a fun story, but also knows exactly when to take it serious as well. So I am slightly sad that he's not the one directing it, because I feel like he would have been perfect for Fantastic Four. But with that being said, I think John Watts is another really good choice. So I'm sure it's going to be a fun movie regardless.
How do you know that Matthew Vaughn isn't the one who's actually going to have the X-Men movie?
See, that would be cool too. If they ended up giving that to him later on down the line, yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. I'm gonna say I kind of agree with you, Stuart. Like, for me, I don't know if John Watts would have been my first choice for a Fantastic Four director. I do think that there are several other directors out there I probably would have preferred to have seen. But if you're gonna tell me John Watts is gonna direct Fantastic Four, I'm cool with it. I'm perfectly okay with this. I think it just feels just something like right up Kevin Feige's alley. Like, I feel very much like Kevin Feige really wants to almost embrace that nostalgia and that old school feeling of Marvel comic books back in the 60s with good old Stan Lee behind the writing pad and things like that, and I think somebody like a John Watts really lends to the really lends to those characters really well to be able to embrace sort of that type of mindset a little bit. You know, when you watch something like a Spider-Man Homecoming, it feels very much like a classic Stan Lee, Steve Ditko type of film, you know, really being able to tap into handling a huge sort of supporting cast and having everybody shine properly on screen, you know. I just think there is a fun-loving sort of aspect that John Watts is able to kind of bring to his Marvel films that I think works for a character like Spider-Man. And just considering the fact of that connection that we've always seen between Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, or even Johnny Storm, right? Like there is some there is some resemblance between those two factions, if you will, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. So if you are trying to get sort of that family camaraderie, right, and you know that you have to handle an ensemble cast of the crew, I just think John Watts is probably as good as it gets in being able to do that. You know, if you've loved just what the lightheartedness that Spider-Man has kind of brought, but still some great intensity and great action to it, I think John Watts can really understand the sensibilities of that first family of Marvel, but still be able to give us that action and that intergalactic action and maybe those, you know, those sci-fi sort of technological advances that Reed Richards winds up coming up with, you know, really tapping into that Jack Kirby. I just think somebody like John Watts has that vision to be able to give you a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and make it feel very much grounded and lighthearted, and still be able to utilize that same vision towards something like a Fantastic Four. And I just think he this is really what Kevin Feige is hoping to kind of bring to the first family when it comes to Fantastic Four. So I think this is right up his alley. I think Kevin Feige's got his man in John Watts. And so I'm excited. I think John Watts is actually going to handle this really well. I don't know who's writing. That's definitely going to come down to also script. We haven't seen script, but as far as vision and feel and what we're going to be getting when we visually see it on screen and tone and vibe and stuff like that, yeah, John Watts is a great choice for this, honestly.
I totally agree with everything both of you said, but there's also another key component happening that we don't know about yet. Remember, he is directing the third Spider-Man film, so it could be something also that they see in that they decided to give him this, or maybe it's a connecting story from that's going to lend itself to Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? In the end, and that's why they rather have him. You know what I'm saying?
Just move on to that.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay, I like it.
Dino Knight says something interesting, and I'm going to one-up him what he said. He said this will be the third reboot of the Fantastic Four film since the 90s. Well, we already had the third reboot for Spider-Man since the year 2002. So
really? Wow.
Actually, this is actually the fourth.
This is the fourth reboot. Yeah.
The very original that never even went to theaters. There was a Fantastic Four movie that was literally just made so kind of like with Fantastic. It was made just so people could like have the licensing for Fantastic Four.
Well, I never went
to theaters. It was really bad.
I don't even account the original like Spider-Man movies where the web looked like rope coming out of his wrist and stuff like that. We'll stay away from them. But yeah, I mean, you had the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, you had the Amazing Spider-Man, you had Spider-Man Homecoming out. The first Spider-Man came out in 2002, and it's just amazing how that feels like it's so long ago.
Yeah, that's not even 20 years ago, man. Like, God, we got all these movies, and Jesus.
Yeah, so that's interesting to me.
They love their Spider-Man properties, I tell you. Yeah, I'm really eager for this. I don't know the full scope or the story of Fantastic Four, but I'm really eager to see what John Watts is certainly going to do. Hopefully we wind up getting ourselves some news in regards to who's going to be the potential writer for this series. And then maybe we'll have a different outlook on the situation after we wind up seeing that. But John Watts directing Fantastic Four, the pieces are moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see what they have in store for us when it comes to phase 4 going forward. I'm assuming, are you guys assuming like me that this is all phase 4? Or do you think that this is a little bit beyond that too?
I think this is phase 4, phase 5. I think it's going to be like they did I think this phase 4, phase 5. Because I don't see all these movies coming out in 2021.
I think they're not doing phases anymore. I think they're just doing releases. I don't think they have any plan. I don't think they're doing it the same way they did it before. That's my guess, anyways.
Well, I don't know. They announced the phases before when they came into what phases the Disney TV shows and stuff were going to be in. So I think I'm thinking after this, maybe something resets where after that it's just movies. Because I really think after we get this slate of movies, we're not going to have as many movies coming out. I think there'll be a lot more Disney Plus stuff than stuff we actually see in the theater.
Yeah, I think the theater stuff will really be held for the big blockbuster films for sure. But I feel like anything else, Disney's probably going to start just pushing their Marvel stuff onto Disney Plus, unless, like I said, unless it is a huge, big tentpole film that they already kind of have announced. So, I mean, and it definitely does seem like, look, we didn't get ourselves a Black Widow announcement dropping on Disney Plus. I think some of us were kind of expecting maybe they would follow in HBO's lead, but considering all the pushback that HBO is currently getting right now, which, mind you, I honestly thought HBO or Warner Brothers at least asked people for permission, or at least let people know their plans before just deciding, hey, we're going to do this. Because of the fact they didn't speak to anybody, Warner Brothers is now getting the shit beat out of them across media because everybody's speaking out against them for making decisions without even coming to those that made the films in the first place. So really just undermining their creators over at Warner Brothers, which I think really upset a bunch of people. So I can easily see Kevin Feige thinking to themselves, yeah, you know what? We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Movie theaters, don't worry. Black Widow will be still out when we have it regularly scheduled. So I don't know. I still think Disney could put Black Widow out in movie theaters. But again, I think out on Disney Plus if they wanted to. But I do think that's the impact of what happened with HBO Max is maybe allowing them to stick there, to stick in movie theaters.
You didn't pay $30 for Mulan. Are you paying $30 for Black Widow?
No. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I didn't pay $30 for Mulan. I was going to, but I didn't. And then I just realized, like, as of yesterday or 2 days ago, like, oh crap, Mulan's free now. So I watched Mulan. So I just remembered it was free. But no, I didn't pay for Mulan. Would I pay for Black Widow? Probably. To be legit honest with you, probably. I mean, especially just because it's Marvel, two, because it's our channel, and we're probably going to do a review for it anyway. So I probably would have purchased it. But yeah,
my thing's the Blu-ray is gonna be about $30 anyway. Blu-ray at least gonna be $24.99. So I would pay it. You know what I'm saying, to see it. As of right now, I honestly, until we started talking about it, I keep forgetting that the movie's coming out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be coming out 2021. I think March or May. I could be wrong. I don't remember the release dates, but yeah, it seems as though Disney Plus is at least sticking to their ideas of when they were going to be releasing. But make no mistake, guys, despite what HBO is doing, despite what Disney Plus is doing, the one thing that both of these companies are highly expressing: streaming is the future, ladies and gentlemen. The way we view TV and movies will significantly change going forward. I don't think theaters are going to be completely dead. I just think that there will still certainly be just a different, like an extra option for you if you want to see the movies in that kind of environment. But I do feel as though this is Disney, along with Warner Brothers, showcasing that their main focus truly is going to be on building their streaming service. And with Disney not having to worry so much about having to pay for licensing fees because they own a ton of their own property, that's just more profit for them, just based off of Disney Plus alone, for them to put in their pocket and not have to, worry about debt or, have to worry about paying people back type of thing. So they definitely find themselves in some really unique situations that I don't think other studios are able to do. So yeah, if you guys want to stay tuned with everything, I would highly recommend a subscription service, not only to HBO Max, despite their actions lately, but also to Disney Plus, because I do think some big things are coming, and you'll want to be a part of the big things coming, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Indy?
Or just subscribe here, and we just break it all down
for free.
Anyway.
Yeah, for free. But hey, listen, if you do want to support the channel, guys, we do have ourselves a Patreon page, patreon.com/A+opinions. If you love the content that we're doing here, we are providing early access and exclusive content for Patreon users. Whether you're a Power Ranger fan and watch us on A+ More Phenomenal, or you're big into Marvel, DC, television, and movies, A+ Hero Report might be the thing for you. I do know we do have exclusives that are going to be coming your way. Indy Indy's going to be working on some character breakdowns. I believe to the public right now, we've got a Naomi character breakdown that should be dropping for you guys sometime within the next week. But I also know Indy will be doing exclusive character breakdowns for you guys also. So if you happen to see a name in the news that you're not familiar with, or a new character that's being introduced, whether it be from the movies or TV, definitely count on Indy to go ahead and bring you those character breakdowns. But if you want to go ahead and check out our different tiers, we got a $1 tier, $5 tier, and a $10 tier. Go ahead and check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions and become a patron, and certainly go ahead and support the channel whenever you guys get the opportunity to do so. So thank you very much for that. Guys, before we wrap up though, is there any last things that you want to go ahead and talk about, or anything that happened at the Disney Insider Day that's really jumped out at you, or if there's any comments that you saw in here that you want to bring to your attention before we wrap up?
There's a couple of comments I want to bring to the attention. DinoNat said the Gal Gadot and DC Fandom are having virtual premiere of Wonder Woman 84 on Tuesday.
I heard that. I heard about that. Yeah.
How much?
I wondered. I have no idea. I
$1?
wonder if that's free. Like, I wonder if you could just sign in and watch. I don't know. I'll have to look.
All right, and we got an instant question from Shadow Nova. I asked him to elaborate on it. He said, "Do you guys think the Spider-Man fan base is overreacting about the Fantastic Four?" I asked him to elaborate on that, and he said, like, they expressed how they don't like what John has done with the Spider-Man films, and hearing this news, they've been very vocal negatively about it.
Does John Watts write? Is he the writer also?
I don't think he is. I think he's just the director.
Oh, let me Spider-Man Homecoming. I have heard some pushback in regards to the current Spider-Man movies, just because one of the things that I have been hearing a lot about is that people haven't been really pleased that Spider-Man hasn't been able to do his own thing. That he's been really reliant on mentors and other superheroes sort of being involved in his movies, and it's not necessarily just Spider-Man being in the Spider-Man movie, unlike
I'm sorry, that sounds like every Spider-Man comic I ever read.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But that very much is true to like a Spider-Man comic book, right? I mean, but you look at somebody like a Sam Raimi Spider-Man, right? He didn't have any other superheroes come in. The Sony Spider-Man, he didn't have any other superheroes come in, sort of thing. So I think it's really the idea of seeing Spider-Man stand on his own feet that people certainly want to go ahead and see. And so I'm thinking that maybe that's where most of the complaints are kind of coming from. I am seeing a screenplay by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly. I think he might have some co-writing credits, John Watts. But I feel like a lot of that is more script based than actually on the shoulders of John Watts, if that makes sense.
Can I ask you a question? Did we not watch? We watched Homecoming, right? Did you not see him stand up on his home against the Vulture? When we got to the end of Far From Home, you know what I'm saying? Did he not stand up against the guy that he thought was, you know what I'm saying, helping him out after losing a mentor and everything he had went through? I just think they want to see him beating up 6 villains, you know what I'm saying, on his own, when he's literally making strides and growing, you know what I'm saying, every day. This is a kid who hasn't even made it out of high school. This isn't college, you know what I'm saying, level Peter Parker yet. So I feel like we're going to get there. I don't understand what people's, you know what I'm saying. As far as character building, I feel like he's doing an amazing job as a director and letting us grow with Peter. And that's something that I feel like we missed in the old movies. Spider-Man was amazing, had the best villain in Doc Ock, but I still feel like with the other 2 Spider-Man, you didn't get to grow with them.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. What were you going to say, Stewart?
I was going to say, I'm not mad about it because we've already had 2 different Spider-Man where they were very standalone. They never crossed over with any other superheroes. Both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, did their own thing. And Marvel, when they started doing their Spider-Man movie, one thing that was very clear from the get-go is they didn't want to just, copy from what these 2 franchises already did. They wanted to try their own unique thing, but still have it feel like Spider-Man. And I think the idea of him constantly, teaming up with different superheroes within his movies, it definitely does feel like something that, the comic book Spider-Man does a lot. Like Indy was mentioning, he was the character that tends to cross over with so many different Marvel characters more than any of the other characters within the Marvel universe. So to me, that made a lot of sense. And yeah, I think the whole thing, I know a lot of people keep wanting to say that this new Spider-Man is just Iron Man Jr. I don't get that. Like, yeah, I do agree. He's definitely like Iron Man was definitely his mentor, but I think he takes the Iron Man aspect, but gives his own Spider-Man twist on it. I don't think, I don't see him personally as Iron Man Jr. I just see him as Spider-Man, mentored by Iron Man.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You go, sir.
No, I was just gonna say, and I also think people, because of the fact that John Watts is a director, I think people just immediately crap on the director if they don't feel a certain way about the movie, but don't understand that at least when I think about it, I don't think John Watts is responsible for those ideas. You know what I mean? I feel like those are the ideas of Kevin Feige and the writers of the script, whereas John Watts is simply taking what he's been given and he's showcasing his vision of what the script is. So I think people are just really misguided in putting their blame on somebody that it's not even John Watts' fault. You know what I mean? But because of the fact that his name is attached to director, he does get the brunt end of it, unfortunately. But I don't think that's on John Watts. Like, if you haven't liked the Spider-Man movies, I would blame the script more than I would the actual director in John Watts, which is why it gives me more confidence that when the feeling that movie gives you visually, the tone, the vibe, all of that is created from John Watts himself. And so when you get that lightheartedness, that all comes from John Watts. And I think that's a perfect thing for somebody like a Fantastic Four. And you guys are right. I mean, the one thing that we've talked about, and even though I do have my issue with the idea that I would like to see Spider-Man, or I should say Peter Parker, show more of his genius. I feel like, not that he hasn't shown that he's smart, but I feel like he can show that he's smarter than what he has already. And so that side of things, I definitely would like to see showcased a little bit more for Peter. But for me, like, the idea of him teaming up with people doesn't bother me because, like you said, Stewart, we've already gotten 2 series of Spider-Man films where he's done his solo thing. It's okay to go ahead and actually give us something significantly different with this iteration of Spider-Man. And on top of that, I mean, he teams up with everybody. Doctor Strange is his homeboy in the comic books. I'm sure he's visited his place a couple times. He's teamed up with Fantastic Four, with Johnny Storm on several different occasions. Iron Man,
they double date.
Yeah, that's almost Spider-Man's life. If you live in New York, I'm sure you're bumping into Spider-Man at some point in time. So for me, I'm perfectly okay with that. Now, if you told me Spider-Man is teaming up with somebody like Wolverine just randomly, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this makes no sense. But the fact that they're well, I'm just saying, but the fact that they're at least utilizing characters that Spider-Man interacts with on a very regular basis, that certainly doesn't bother me at all. And I think you made a good point too, Indy, that this is high school. We're not fully in college yet. So there's still a lot of potential for Peter Parker to certainly grow and not maybe have to count on mentors as much. So maybe we are getting to that point. But one of my things would simply be just showcase that Peter is a genius, because I know that he's smarter than people have given him credit for in these movies. Sometimes they make him, I don't want to say they make him look stupid or act stupid, but I just think he can do a lot more on his own if they allowed him to shine that way. But I'm not complaining like the other people are of team ups. I just think people are putting the blame all in the wrong area. Honestly, I don't think that's John Watts' fault. I think that's the script.
I think that the point of Homecoming and Far From Home was to show exactly what you just stated, that your purpose is to learn from your mentors and create friendships that can help you in the future. And if you look at his character, that's exactly what he's doing. These heroes he's teaming up with are people that he will be a full-fledged Avenger in the future. He's learning from his mentors to correct the mistakes he had. And one of the genius moments I think he had that everybody forgets is when he shed that suit that Tony made him and then made his own. Mm-hmm. That was better than the suit that Tony made him.
That's what I love about the first one is, like, I thought that whole thing of him having to, screwing up really badly to where he loses everything and he's forced to rely on his own technology at the very end of that movie, that was what made me not annoyed by Iron Man's role in the film, because when I saw the trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming, they made it look like it was going to be the two of them teaming up to take down the main villain. That's not what happened at all. Iron Man, if anything, just kind of got in the way of that, and it was Tom Holland, Spider-Man, having to rely on his own tech at the very end that finally took down the Vulture.
Facts. And I'm just going to put this here because this is like the nail in the coffin right here for our conversation. Plus, John checks come from Sony, not Marvel.
That's true.
He's gonna get his first real check doing Fantastic Four.
Marvel's like, we're about to give you a raise. Don't tell Sony though. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I will be paying very close attention as to who the writer of Fantastic Four is certainly going to be. But I think as far as getting that tone and that feeling and the vision that you want for a Fantastic Four movie, I do think John Watts is certainly one of the many that I think could probably pull this off. But I do like that idea of them keeping him around from Spider-Man to Fantastic Four.
Do we have time for two more questions?
Two more questions, and that's it, man. That's it.
All right.
I gotta actually take off right now. If
okay.
Sorry about that, but I'll see you guys tomorrow then.
All right, sounds good, man. Sounds good. We're about to wrap up anyway, so we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Was Aunt May ever young and hot in the comics, or is it just the MCU?
Just the MCU, my friend. She's been old for as long as I can remember. Over the past 60 plus years, this woman has always been old. But I will say, I feel like in the newer versions of the comic books, they kind of younged her up a little bit, man, giving her a shorter haircut, maybe less sort of wrinkles, like wearing better clothes, getting into relationships now with, I think she was with Jay Jonah for a little bit. I don't know if that's still true or not in the comic books, but they've done their best to young her up a little bit, but she's no Aunt May in Homecoming, my friend.
This is what I get from this when it comes to this. When it comes to that particular question, I think our term of old changed over the years, because back in the day when Spider-Man was first made, if you said somebody was 50, 60 years old, you think old and gray. But now, because of technology, us being healthier and stuff like that, you got 60-year-old women out there looking like they're in their, early 40s. Now, Marissa Tomei is 56.
She don't look it.
She just don't look 56. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just them putting today's spend on what old, I'm saying, be.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and then one more question, and this is just funny to me because I think this is somebody who I think just missed the purpose of the movie. It might be the movie is different from the comics. Dino Knight asks, is Captain Marvel, what is the point of the old lady who was a co-pilot of Carol?
If Jude Law was the real douchebag, well, the old lady in there, I believe, was Marvel, if I'm not mistaken. They did do a gender swap for Marvel, so she had huge importance. And I think that's also another reason why that old lady is the same person that Brie Larson's character imagines when she goes to see the Supreme Intelligence. They always talked about the idea of like the Supreme Intelligence comes to you in the form of somebody that has like huge impact on your life or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And she wind up being Marvel, I think. What is it? Came to Earth and wind up doing the projects on the Tesseract, or using that energy from the Tesseract. Yeah. And it just happened to be the co-pilot for Carol. I think they had been working for a while as part of their Air Force or something like that, and Carol was one of her test pilots or something. So even though Jude Law was the real douchebag, make no mistake, that old lady does play a significant role in the story.
Yeah, it was her DNA put through the Tesseract that ended up giving Carol her powers. But that Marvel in the Marvel comics was a dude. They just flipped it.
And we a lot of us, I think, going into this movie thought that Jude Law was going to be Marvel. Until
that was an amazing twist that they gave us, because up until the end when he flipped on you,
I was like, wait a minute,
you're
not Marvel? What is going on?
I was like, no.
Yeah, so that older lady definitely is Marvel, who has a huge history in the comic books for sure. I don't necessarily know if I was the most keen on them utilizing that storyline that way, but I'll give them a pass here. But yeah, definitely go ahead and revisit that movie if you get a chance to, AJ, to better understand what her presence is in that film and why Carol sees her when she goes to the Supreme Intelligence. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to go ahead and actually wrap it up for us. It's hard to imagine that we even have an A+ hero report tomorrow. Like, I don't even know the topics that we're going to talk about. I got to go ahead and get this set up for us tonight, honestly. But we will, in fact, be back tomorrow, A+ hero report live, 11 a.m. Central Time. We really just wanted to go ahead and utilize this time to really talk about all the Marvel Phase 4 stuff because there was just so much, and I just didn't want to go ahead and combine this with our A+ hero report news also. So I thought it would be best to go ahead and just separate it itself. So tomorrow we will be focusing on other topics. But if you do have yourself a question, whether they be in regards to all this Marvel stuff or other things, you can always go ahead and actually submit your questions over to us. So feel free to start sending them over tonight if you want to aplusopinions@gmail.com. Again, aplusopinions@gmail.com. And we'll certainly go ahead and tackle your questions at the end of our live episode of A+ Hero Report tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time. So certainly go ahead and join us for then. But other than that, guys, hey, Indy, if people want to go ahead and reach out to you on social media, man, where can they find you, sir?
You could definitely find me at Nerd Mix Alpha everywhere. And if you guys could do me a favor, please, whatever streaming service you use to listen to your music, just search Indy Uchiha. Check it out.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you very much for certainly joining me and Stewart and the whole entire crew here for talking some Marvel. Always fun to get nerdy with you guys. But other than that, we will in fact be back tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're waiting for, man. Hit that subscribe channel. This is a great channel for all your Marvel, DC, movies, and television talk each and every week, ladies and gentlemen. We got a ton of movie and I should say a ton of television reviews headed your way also, especially with a lot of our DC television shows coming back here in January. So go ahead and subscribe and follow up with us each and every week. And of course, we'll certainly be back tomorrow. So subscribe, hit that bell notification. And if you love our content, give us that big thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen. But until tomorrow, we'll certainly see you guys then. So do us a big favor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as always, keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.